Andrew,
Mm-hmm.
I hate to do it to you. I actually don't hate to do it to you. It's my moral responsibility to do it.
Okay.
Yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
I heard a rumor that you had such a good day,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't even have to use your AK.
No, I left my AK at home.
uh, Mama cooking breakfast with no hog, from what I understand.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they had to change the Goodyear blimp said and add an
What did
extra
that
name.
What did that read,
It
Andrew?
initially read that Ice Cube's a pimp,
Uh huh.
but now it reads Ice Cube and Andrew are pimps.
Our pips.
Yeah,
Yeah. You saw Ice Cube.
yeah, I did.
Like you touched Ice Cube in a
Yeah, I met the man.
consensual way.
Yeah, and I shook
Yeah.
his hand and told him, "Hey, man, you fucking killed it tonight." And he was like, "Thank you, brother."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fucking rules, dude.
Yeah, dude, it was really cool. It was like,
Yeah.
and everything went super smooth. Like, we went to the show and we were guests of his manager, which by extension is a guest to him because the guy that got the tickets is friends with Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Knew him, knows him. I mean, they're both alive, and the guy was there, so like they actively knows him. And so we got the tickets. Didn't even ask me for my ID at the will call, which was like somebody could have just came up and asked for my tickets and fucking walked in and met Ice Cube. But I went in and straight to the spot to watch it. The Fresno Fair, a lot better than Bakersfield Fair, by the way.
Okay. I don't think I've ever been to the Bakersfield Fair. I did go to the Fresno Fair to see Weird Al. One of the best concerts I've ever
Holy
been.
shit! Yeah, I mean, let's talk about that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
We'll get
But-
to that second.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I that's the one you have over me, by the way.
Yeah.
So I went to the Bakersfield Fair last week, and that was just line city. It was just lines. It was like,
Yeah.
hey, if you want to get your car within 200 yards of this fair, you're gonna go a quarter of a mile in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And so we stopped in a bad neighborhood because there's only bad neighborhoods around the Bakersfield Fair,
Yeah.
and walked to it. And first of all, nobody's card machines worked, no ATMs worked because the server was in Florida. I don't know if you've heard about what's happening in Florida. Big fucking hurricane, right?
There's a bit of a. They are indisposed, as it were.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was a little windy. So I had no money because I don't. What am I? Bring cash around,
Right.
in that neighborhood.
Who are you, Mr. Burns?
Yeah, so Ted DiBiase and shit. I and every line was crazy long. Like my girlfriend had to stand in line for the women's room, and I didn't see her for like 25 minutes. Went for a walk. Bought a booze bracelet because you have to have a bracelet to buy booze. Saw a Trump T-shirt booth, which like. They were like rip-off Trump T-shirts. They weren't licensed,
Right.
so it's,
Like outside of the concert.
yeah. One of them literally
yeah.
said "Orange Man Good," and then
Van Halen. I didn't just go see Van Halen.
the guy, Sturks, the guy who was at the selling these horrible T-shirts because it was like it was just a couple of Trump shirts and most of it was like anti-woke jokes. Like the guy who was selling the shirts had a shirt that said "I identify as trans slender."
Ah, yes.
Like that doesn't even really make sense. So you're also trans? Like what? I get it, you're skinny. Like what's the trans part of this?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, and there was dirt everywhere. So Bakersfield Fair stunk. Fresno Fair, infrastructure. You're not walking on dirt. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a ride. There's a big pirate thing you can walk on. And like, anyway, still not getting on any of the rides. And I don't want to touch any of the people. So we get there, we get the tickets, really good seats. Ice Cube puts on a crazy good show.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
There are a lot of people I knew, coincidentally, at the show posting video, like little clips and stuff on social media, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, there's that Ice Cube song. Oh yeah, that Ice Cube song is also rules. And so
yeah, and they opened with Natural Born Killers, which was my favorite Ice Cube song, which I heard for the first time on the way to my Rage Against the Machine show, by the way. But just rubbing that.
Why
in
do
a
you
little
have
bit.
to hurt me?
Yeah, Dusty's
We're
Rage Against the
friends, why
Machine
do you-
show got canceled for the 15th time.
No, not just the show. The whole tour is canceled. It's no longer postponed.
So you're just getting your money back now.
Yeah, fucking Zach tore his Achilles tendon, which sucks.
Yeah, that
like
does
it's such a like. I don't want to be the person who's selfish and like, but what about me in this situation? Because the man, like, he seems very concerned about his ability to like just do regular life stuff now, because that's a horrendous injury to have to come back from. But I'm also like, yeah, that sucks. But also like, God damn
maybe
it,
a year,
man.
maybe push it back a year, maybe.
Well, I think what happened was they didn't want to put a date on it and be like, he has to be ready, but time to do it. I imagine for the goodwill of them as a group, if they have the capacity to tour again, they'll come back. They'll run it back. But who knows? And fucking Run the Jewels was going to open for them.
I know.
That was a 2-banger. That's 2 off the list.
I know.
And now I have none off the list.
It's fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible.
Oh man.
Anyway, back to me meeting Ice Cube.
How great. Andrew just continually on the ascent. You know?
He rapped The Rich Get Richer. He rapped every word of every song that was his verses.
Yeah.
Like, every once in a while, his other guy on stage would like double up the thing, but very rarely. Like, it was like they planned that out. Like, he talked about it. He was like talking about like rappers who rap to the record, and they'll do a little bit of their verse, and then they'll just let the record play for the rest of the verse. And he's like, if you like that, that's fine. I wouldn't pay to go see that shit. But he's like, and like, he was just so good. Like, he was better than Snoop, and Snoop was good. Like, but he was just like so much energy, dancing, and like, it was funny. There was one moment where I was like, man, he's really got the like moves and the stance and like holding the microphone and the bounce and all this. He's really got that shit down. And I'm like, wait, he is that shit.
That's his shit. Yeah.
Like, everybody else is taking his shit because he's Ice Cube. Like, he was from the So then
you try to make a record that sound like American Most, you know,
dude. And man, he was so fucking good. And then so then immediately the show ended. We let the crowd like disperse a little bit. We walked to the side stage. Like, as soon as we get there, the Ice Cube's manager's there. He opens the thing. They're like, 7 people can come in. We had 7 people. Walked right in. They had he had like this patio backstage. And then his dressing room door was right there. And so we just kicked it on the patio with his entourage, just sitting there and like twiddling our thumbs and talking to each other.
Yeah, we'll hang out with just Ice Cube.
Yeah, and that was like, I talked about it before, like how out of place I looked backstage at the Snoop Dogg show. Me and my buddy Nate, who looks like a cop, backstage at the Ice Cube show. But one thing I'll tell you, no weed backstage at the Ice Cube show. I didn't even smell it in the dressing room. The Snoop Dogg show, completely different story. I didn't take a single hit of weed that night. I walked out of there with red eyes. I swear to God, I'm not making a joke. Ice Cube doesn't like. He always like, especially recently, he doesn't strike me as a guy who parties too hard. But he just wanted to like. They were like, just sit here for a little bit. He likes to freshen up, change his clothes because he got sweaty as fuck on stage. And so he a few minutes later, the bodyguard opens the door and like looks at the manager and goes, "All right." And then he's like, "All right, guys, go on in." We just fucking walk in there, and Ice Cube standing there. He's got a big old smile on his face, and he meets the guy that I was with, and his name's Greg Mack. He's a radio legend from L.A. And they were talking to Greg, and Greg was like, "Thank you for letting us in," and all that stuff. And one of the guys with Ice Cube was like, "Dude, we're here because of you. You guys took us to the top." And I was like, "Man, everything Greg said about himself is true. I can't believe it." Then he was like, Ice Cube goes, like, whatever pictures you guys want, whatever things you want signed, like, well, let's do it right now, no problem. And so I didn't want to be like, because I had a friend there, so I didn't want to be like, all right, get one with me and you. All right, get one with you, my friend. All right, get one with both of us. All right, get one where we're both rapping shit. I got some dice. You want to look like we're playing dice in here?
Sure.
And like, hey, can you shout out Snark Mark's podcast and all this shit? So
can there be one where you're pretending to choke me?
Yeah, exactly. Can I get one where I'm pretending to choke you back? Like all this shit. So,
can I get one where I'm laying on the ground and you're pretending to say you just got knocked the fuck out?
Yeah, I got my fist cocked back. You're going, oh my god, don't hit me, like all this shit.
Right.
And so I just got a picture with me and my buddy. I was just like,
dude, that's a forever picture though.
Yeah,
and good choice with the Nate Diaz shirt, by the way. It looks very cool.
I knew. I got a lot of people commented on that shirt last night too. It's funny. The Ice Cube's manager was like, "Oh shit, the guy with Nate Diaz shirt is with Greg." He's like, "I've been looking at that shirt all night. I pointed it out to my guys over here." I'm like, it's just all it says is a black shirt. Just says Nate Diaz across the front, and yeah, and he was like super cool. Just like obviously they're gonna be cool, but he seemed like a real nice guy. Like I was just like, dude, that was a fucking crazy show. Great job. And he's like, thank you, man, thank you. And shook his hand and got my bitch ass out of his dressing room because I didn't want to leave.
Cube? Right? Yeah.
Bye, Ice Cube. Love you.
Yeah, you got to get out on a high.
Thank you for Friday. Yeah. I feel bad in those situations, like just being like, what's up? Picture. All right, later. Now I'm gonna tell everybody for the rest of my life I met you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but
it's equally because there's a part of you, or at least me, like where I'm like, what if I hung out with Ice Cube and he like liked me?
Yeah, I know.
That would be really cool.
Am I gonna get the joke in? Am I gonna get the joke in?
Yeah, and then there's a part of you that's more like, okay, he just did his thing. He probably just wants to hang out with his dudes, and like he's got a bunch of other shit that he's got to do. And if I can leave either a zero memory or just a positive quick memory, that's way better than if I hung around too long and the welcome's worn out and he's like get the fuck out, you know.
You don't want to be that guy. Like if I ever get to meet somebody like that again, like I'm not gonna bring anything to get signed. I don't care about autographs like at all. Right. And like I learned with because Warren G was kind of like a practice run because like Warren G's dope and I've been a fan forever and he was super cool and we actually talked for a little bit and stuff. I actually had a conversation with him when we met and but like that night I was supposed to meet Snoop Dogg, so I was like talking to myself like, Andrew's just a normal fucking guy. You're not gonna do your little stupid dance and Snoop Dogg's gonna be like, I like this little motherfucker, and then we're friends for life and he follows me on Instagram now. Yeah. Do you want to meet Martha Stewart? So I was like, it's always like, you know, just say hi, be nice, and if everybody's talking and you think of something to say, fucking say it. But only say it if you would say it in front of your friends. You know what I mean? Like just be yourself. Actually, meeting Todd Glass taught me that too. You
want to err on the side of brevity.
Yeah.
You know, and like inclusion.
Yeah.
Remember, like you're in the group, but like whether you're there or not is not a positive or negative to Ice Cube's night.
Yeah,
you know?
Ice Cube's not gonna be like, where'd that little fucking skinny guy go?
Right, where'd Nate Diaz shirt guy go?
Yeah, so that's what we did. We took the picture. I was out of the room. Me and my friend were out of the room for like 3 or 4 minutes before the rest of the people we came with got out of the room because they stuck around. Were like they had him do a little promo for the radio station and him and Greg talked and all that. But I just didn't want to linger.
Greg Mack, right?
Yeah, so I just didn't want to linger. So it was perfect. We fucking left immediately. Got home at like 10:30, hour drive. You know.
Awesome. Man.
But yeah, if you ever get a chance, any of you, to go see Ice Cube live, if you haven't seen him, he's probably better than even you expect. Because I expected him to be good. Like obviously he's Ice Cube, but like. He ain't lost any of it by doing the acting and all that stuff.
Did he do No Vaseline?
He did do No Vaseline. And I was wondering about that.
I was wondering if he would not do it or if he would change some of the lyrics. Because he goes in fucking hard. Yeah. Like, he is rough to the dudes in NWA in that song.
It seems like I didn't notice any changed lyrics, but he could have. Yeah. So yeah, he did his NWA like portion of the he does the thing that a lot of people do where there's like a little joke at the beginning of every I love coming to Fresno because I love how you guys do it. You know what I mean? And then what's cool though is when I leave, and when we leave, you're gonna know how we do it, and then boom, the song starts. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
that's classic professional, dude.
Yeah, he does it all the time. And
that's a song we wanted to hear.
Fuck, I know what song's coming. But so he did Straight Outta Compton, which was sick, and Gangsta Gangsta, NWA songs. And then he was like, yeah, man, I loved being in NWA. He named all the guys, and he was like, being 17, 18, 19 years old and being in the world's most dangerous group, and like talking about all this stuff, getting applause breaks after everything he says, pretty much. And then he's like, and then the money got funny. And then everybody's like, oh, fuck, no Vaseline's coming. And he's like, he said, and I left the group. And then he goes, and I didn't diss anybody. I went and made a different album. And I can't remember what the album's called that he made right after. I just have stupid.
It's America's Most Wanted with 3 Ks.
Dude. His hype man was like classic when he said the name of the album, and he was like, I didn't diss anybody, but then they dissed me. And he's like, when you diss me, I'm gonna diss you back. And he's like basically he said, I'm gonna get you pretty good. And then in fact, I'm gonna get you with no Vaseline. And oh shit. Yeah. So
it's interesting too, because like Ice Cube wrote a lot of the lyrics. I mean, he wrote almost all of Eazy-E's lyrics.
Yeah.
He wrote him and MC Ren wrote, I think, the majority of the NWA stuff. So it's like you're gonna diss the dude who writes like the hardest jams for you guys, and then he's gonna come back. Listen to the Ice Cube albums. What a wild time.
It's like Richard Pryor album names.
To be alive. Well, okay, so opens with America's Most Wanted, 3 Ks in America,
of course,
and he's got a gun on the cover. Then Death Certificate, 1991. That's the one that has no Vaseline in it. Predator, 1992. Lethal Injection, 1993. War and Peace, Volume 1, 1998. War and Peace, Volume 2, 2000. The Peace Disc. Oh, War and Peace, Volume 1, the War Disc.
Yeah.
Then there's the Peace Disc. Laugh Now, Cry Later. Raw Footage. I Am the West. Everything Corrupt. And then there's a remastered version of Death Certificate. Man, I love Ice Cube. He rules. He just rules.
And the interesting thing about he's the best. The interesting thing about looking like me at an Ice Cube show is like he's like, everybody put those W's up, like do the West Side thing, and I'm just not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do anything with my fingers at a rap show. Like I'll wave my hands when you tell me to. Like I just don't care. All that stuff.
But you do care.
As soon as you tell me to do anything where I'm making a letter with my hands or anything like that, my arms are crossed.
Yeah, probably wise for you.
Yeah.
Now, Andrew, on this podcast, we've been many places. We've been to Frogtown.
We have been to Frogtown.
Occasionally, we like to venture over into what I would call the MMA corner.
Yeah.
We do a little bit of MMA. I'd like to take us for the first time, possibly by train, to the baseball peninsula. Just real quick.
Okay.
Because we don't... for anybody who listens who doesn't know, Andrew is a baseballman, first and foremost.
Bit of a baseball guy, yeah.
His love for baseball is similar in a way to my love for wrestling. It's our first loves.
Yeah.
Couple of baseball things, real quick. Just want an opinion.
Okay.
Your boy, Aaron Judge, just hit a 60-second home run. Broke the AL all-time home run record. A lot of people trying to say this is the true home run record. Where do you fall in this argument, Andrew? I will say, I don't care. It might be the wrong one. It might be the wrong take. I could be on the wrong side of history. Barry Bonds hit more balls that went over the fence than anybody else. Everything else is arbitrary after that. If he cheated, so did tons of other guys who also didn't hit 73 balls over a fence.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. I think it's still the Bonds record. I think what Aaron Judge did is real cool. It's just not the record.
Yeah, it's Bonds. It's definitely Bonds. Barry Bonds is the greatest hitter I ever saw. Not even close, pretty much. Like I don't like Pujols is close. I think no, not even close. But like Pujols is probably next. Maybe Miguel Cabrera in my like lifetime. I saw a little bit of Tony Gwynn, so you can mention that, but I didn't see very much of him.
Ichiro.
Yeah, but
Loving Ichiro, but didn't hit the power.
Ichiro was a great his type of hit. I mean, he was a great any type of hitter, but in terms of like of all time, he was really good at getting base hits. But anyway, it's Bonds. Bonds. The pitchers were juiced too. When Bonds was like he was hitting off of guys who were on steroids. You can't like the MLB let all that shit happen. If you start putting asterisks around everybody who had an advantage, good luck. Good luck finding somebody who was clean. You could go all the way back pretty much. So like,
but they used to do trucker speed. So that's not necessarily a clean game at that point.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I've actually mentioned this on the podcast before. Harold Baines used to slide head first so he wouldn't break the vial of cocaine in his back pocket. So the game's been dirty forever, and picking an arbitrary one thing. I mean, steroids are pretty egregious, but I don't think. I mean, they might have made him stronger. That doesn't necessarily mean you swing the bat faster. I'd like to see, and it's probably impossible at this point. Somebody could probably get an estimate based on video. What happened to Barry Bonds' bat speed throughout the years, but other factors could have affected that too. Maybe he's using a different bat or something. They'd have to look at everything. But when you start adding,
tell that his head got bigger.
Well,
that's easy to track.
I know, yes, but I'm just saying specifically, yeah, when his thighs are fucking as big as I am. But like another thing that people aren't really talking about enough, they talked about it a lot a couple of years ago, but MLB is obviously messing with the baseball, and they've obviously been messing with the baseball for at least the last maybe 5 or 6 years. And I would be shocked if they never messed with the baseball before that, making it fly further, making it fly shorter. And so Aaron Judge did this year, 62 home runs, in a year where home runs were way down compared to recent years. MLB pretty clearly did something to the baseball to deaden it before this year. Home run, batting average, every offensive metric is down pretty much. And they supposedly got rid of sticky stuff on the ball to make pitchers be able to spin the ball better. So if you want to look at things that gave people an advantage or disadvantage, there's so many more variables than people think about. And steroids is one, but not having to Babe Ruth didn't have to play at night. He didn't have to travel as much. When he traveled by train. That was probably tough. He only had 154 games in the season, whereas Maris had 162. Like, it gets really muddy when you start throwing asterisks next to everything. So
he also didn't have to play an integrated game, which is, so not for nothing. Yeah.
So while I think it is Bonds is, I mean, if you know anything about baseball, just look at Bonds' stats from like 1998 to like 2003. It's the craziest fucking thing you'll ever see in your life. But it's Bonds. What Judge did this year might be as impressive as Barry Bonds hitting 73 home runs compared to the rest of the league. Judge hit 16 more home runs than the next guy. And when Bonds hit 73 home runs, only 4 guys hit. When he hit 73, 12 guys in the league hit 40 home runs that year, 40 or more. This year, only 4 did. Home runs are down in a league that's trying to hit more home runs. So, what Judge did is crazy impressive, but Barry Bonds is still the home run king, in my opinion.
For anybody listening who doesn't necessarily know. The most amazing thing to me about Barry Bonds is not that he hit 73 home runs, which is incredible, but is at one point in his career so dangerous a hitter that with the bases loaded, they would rather walk Barry Bonds to guarantee a run comes in than try to pitch to him because the idea was so pervasive that he's going to either hit a home run or he's going to hit a ball that's going to drive in more runs than the one that you're going to guarantee by walking him. He's less dangerous if you walk him.
Yeah, a team walked him intentionally, if I remember right. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and they were up by 2 runs. So it cut the lead in half to walk him. And then they got the next guy out and they won the game. So, but Barry Bonds, he was the most feared hitter ever. He got on base 60% of the time, I think twice in his career, which is absolutely insane. So it's Bonds. There's no question. And a lot of people are trying to take this moral stance like they have some grand idea. It's Maris. I still consider Maris the #1 guy. Well, let me tell you, man. It's Bonds. Check the record book, And a lot of people shit on Sosa, and the funny thing about Sosa, Sammy Sosa failed 1 drug test, and that was an anonymous test done by I think it was done by the league, but something happened where it was an anonymous test that was voluntary, and it was the players were promised that it wouldn't be released. It's the same one that got A-Rod for the first time. He failed that test. He's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. He had a crazy career. He hit over 60 home runs 3 times in his career. And David Ortiz failed that same test. David Ortiz is a first ballot Hall of Famer. So these arbitrary lines that we draw throughout history are only going to get muddied, and they're only going to make these things worse. I think Barry Bonds should be a Hall of Famer. I think Roger Clemens should be a Hall of Famer. Everybody has a weird arbitrary line, and
is the Hall of Fame supposed to represent the greatest players to ever play the sport, and you don't have Clemens or Bonds or any of those dudes in it, it lessens the Hall of Fame. I think you and I talked about it. Build a wing of it that's called the "Hey, we did a bunch of steroids" wing. If you want to put it in context or do whatever you're going to do because it makes you feel better about it,
I wouldn't even be for that, to be honest. I just fucking put him in.
Right. If that gets them in, I'm okay with that. I don't think that they should delineate those things because, like you said, there's always been some advantage or some weird thing or shortcuts that somebody took, and it's just steroids were such an obvious thing that came in that it was pervasive. They held government hearings about baseball having steroids in it. That is not a government matter. That is.
Well, hey, look at Vince McMahon.
Yeah. So that was question 1. Real quick, I just want to run past it. Albert Pujols is now in the 700 home run hit club. He now has the 2nd most RBIs of all time.
Yeah.
If he had not gone to the Angels and got hurt and got shitty for some reason for all the years, is Pujols the GOAT? Because he's within reach of every record that he's, could conceivably have.
Well, the easy answer is I don't know, but I don't know that he passes Barry Bonds in terms of overall baseball ability, because Barry Bonds was an outfielder, Pujols was a first baseman, a very good first baseman. But in terms of value added in the overall game, Barry Bonds offered more to his team. He was faster, he's more agile. Even before, I joke about it all the time. Albert Pujols runs like Hank Hill's dad, like he's got no shins. But he'd be. He's on a short list now. He's one of the greatest hitters I've ever seen. When he went to the Angels, I was like, oh man, Albert's fucked. And this isn't me being Nostradamus. Whenever anybody changes teams, I assume they're gonna suck. Just because it seems to happen a lot. I have no data to prove that. It just seems like a lot of people change environments in which they were very successful. And I don't know if they start doubting themselves, they get uncomfortable. They have different training staffs, they have different coaching. I don't know what happens, but it seems like they don't do as well. But who knows? He could have fallen off that same time.
That's also the Griffey argument. If Griffey hadn't gone to the Reds, and just blew his ankle out 17 consecutive seasons or
Yeah,
whatever it was with the Reds.
He got hurt in Cincinnati a lot, but he also got hurt in Seattle. Like he fucked himself up quite a bit. Some guys just break, you know.
I will always remember the Cardinals game where Albert Pujols hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. I was just like, this dude's the best guy, but he's great. That's the dream right there. I think that might have been
Fernando Tatis.
I think Pujols did it as well. I could be wrong, but I think I was like watching the game and I was like, there's no way. 2 times.
2 times.
in one inning. That's why it
was Fernando Tatis.
Okay. There was a point in time where I thought Robin Ventura was the best baseball player because I would only see highlights of him, and every time I saw a highlight of him, he was hitting a grand slam. That's all this guy does is just knock him all the way out. So
just as every other record in MLB, it seems though, the grand slam record is a Yankee. It's Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod has more grand slams than anybody in history, and he beat Lou Gehrig. Another Yankee. Rich get richer, Dusty.
Yeah. Well, speaking of New York City,
wonder if Lou Gehrig ever met Ice Cube.
that would have made him truly the luckiest man ever today. So speaking of New York City, speaking of steroids,
that is true.
Let's hit that theme song.
Welcome to Snark Marks, everybody. We are a wrestling retrospective podcast from the Central Valley of California. I'm still just laughing that you're not going to see Reggie Against the Machine. I'm Andrew. This is Dusty.
A sad sack who won't get to see Reggie Against the Machine.
Hit us up on the socials at Snark Marks Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Dusty's on Twitter at SnarkMarkD. I am on Instagram at Andrew Idell. IDELL, if you want to see a picture of me and Ice Cube that we spoke of earlier, where I look intoxicated. And we took a better picture. I posted the bad one on accident on both Facebook and Instagram separately. But anyway, yeah, listen to our back catalog. We've done a few deep dives. We got some great booking shows. Listen to our first episode if you've never listened to any episodes. It goes over our history together, our Dusty's history with wrestling, my history with wrestling, and a little bit of the history of wrestling. So check it out. So for this one, Dusty got married a couple weeks ago. Well, he got married like a month ago, but the ceremony was a couple weeks ago.
Much like Macho Man and Liz, you know?
Were they already married right here?
Already married, yeah.
Yeah. So Dusty was like, hey, since we're doing wedding shits, let's do SummerSlam 91, which is Macho Man and Elizabeth getting married. Hopefully, yours goes a little bit better than this one.
Yeah, well, I was like, what if we did a wrestling wedding thing? Because generally...
We should have done the French guy's gay wedding.
Well, I was going to say...
From the Attitude Era, right?
Most wrestling weddings go bad. Because it's a storytelling device. Yeah, that's like, it's very tropey, you know, like, but there's been a ton of wrestling weddings. But this is really the only one where I can recall the wedding portion of it going well. We'll get to the reception where shenanigans were afoot. But I was like, well, let's watch the successful one, you know, that everybody was into in 1991. Also, it's a very interesting time for WWF in general. I forgot whenever we picked this show, like there's a bunch of stuff happening in the, like, on the edges that are really interesting.
Yeah, I saw some stuff WWE. Too. I saw one particular thing because you and I did a post about SummerSlam 1991 on August 26th, 2021. And at the beginning of watching this, I was going to text you and go, hey, dude, we fucking watched this already. But we hadn't. I'm not surprised you didn't make that mistake. But the reason that it sounded so familiar and looked familiar is because we did this post where I like, it was pictures from a magazine that I put together with different things that happened in this pay-per-view. So I was like trying to find, I was like, oh, that's what happened. So yeah, a couple big things in wrestling history happened during SummerSlam 1991, and we are in MSG.
Yeah, baby.
The world's most famous arena.
Yeah. It is August 26, 1991. We're in Madison Square Garden, New York City, New York. 20,000 people is the announced attendance for this show. Tagline, Andrew, a match made in heaven, ellipses. A match made in hell.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. 20,000, super round number, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really nice of them to fill it out that way.
Yeah, that's great. What are the odds?
1991 for WWF is sort of an interesting time. I just, for a little bit of context, things are roughly pretty good, but we're on the downhill trend. We did a 1990 deep dive, which I called the last golden year of WWE, because things start to fall off. The 1991 Royal Rumble actually did almost 200,000 more buys than the 1990 Rumble. I attribute that to 91 being the first time that the WWF title was on the line at a Royal Rumble, Ultimate Warrior and Sargent Slaughter.
Hell yeah. I bet that was a good match.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was the 89 was the last golden year. We haven't done 1990 yet. But 1990, things had slipped. WrestleMania 7, unfortunately, the first WrestleMania, second WrestleMania to do less buys than the previous year. So 400,000 buys down from 560,000.
Still a pretty good success, but yeah, it is. You never want to see that number go down.
And they had to move WrestleMania 7. They were trying to do it in the LA Coliseum. They had to move it to the Los Angeles Sports Arena for quote unquote security reasons.
You know what's cool about the LA Coliseum?
What's that?
That's where I saw Rage Against the Machine.
No security reasons to not have that show.
Nope. Even though we burned that motherfucker to the ground.
So they moved it to the LA Sports Arena for quote unquote security reasons, but it was in actuality quote unquote poor ticket sales. So yeah. Apparently it was a myriad of things. I guess there is some legitimate claim to be had that there were security issues because it's a big outdoor arena, but they also weren't selling that motherfucker out either. So they moved it inside. They didn't have to refund any tickets. Is what happened. And the Los Angeles Sports Arena only holds 15,000 people. So
that's a lot fewer.
Yeah. So SummerSlam this year is down almost about 100,000 buys from 507 of 1990 to 405 here.
Man, they were killing it on pay-per-view. Jesus Christ. How much was a pay-per-view at this time? Do you remember?
$24.99 maybe.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Possibly because there's no WWF title match. Possibly the wedding thing didn't really do it for people, but I think it's.
I would not. I mean, I know 1991 we were weird and we didn't have a lot of ways to entertain ourselves, right?
Yeah.
I don't care who's getting married. It's not going to make me buy a wrestling show.
Yeah. And then the Survivor Series from this year drops 100,000 buys from 400,000 to 300,000.
Spike Dudley could be marrying Rick Steiner, and I wouldn't buy the pay-per-view for that.
Still not buying it. 1991 is also where former WWF physician George Sahorian is convicted of steroid distribution, which is a big old rut-row for the WWF.
Oh no.
Yeah. They had stopped using him at the end of the 80s in a very bizarre way. The article I found says Sahorian was also notable because Linda McMahon tipped off Pat Patterson not to use him as the ringside physician in the late 80s because a law was passed in 1988 banning anabolic steroids.
Oh no.
So doesn't make them look good. They'll suddenly stop using the guy they had been using. So things are beginning to triangulate for the WWE here in a bad way. All the shit is coming together, and they're aging out of stars, and we'll see on this show they're trying to have some new guys come in, but they're in a sort of weird transition phase from like the height of the 80s and all the guys that were running hard then to like some new guys that they're trying to make.
I was bummed we didn't have a Jim Duggan sighting. I'm going to be honest. Was he around?
Duggan's around. I don't know why he wasn't on this show.
You got it. You have Hacksaw. You use Hacksaw.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Hold on. I'm going to kick somebody off this card. It's definitely somebody in the first match. I can tell you that. You know what? Any of them. Get rid of anybody from the first match except for British Bulldog and Texas Tornado.
Okay.
Any of them. Ricky Steamboat.
No love for Ricky Steamboat.
I don't get it yet. I'm sure he's cool. I just don't get it yet. He's like I like him a little more than I like Jimmy Snuka, you know?
Sure. I would have replaced Greg Valentine versus IRS.
I wouldn't, because I have a good joke for that once we get down there.
Okay. So
I guess the joke could kind of work for anybody, but it works really good for Greg Valentine, I think.
So we open the show, and it's our classic Vince coked out of his mind voice, where he's...
I love it.
Yeah, he's like, tonight, the hottest night of the SummerSlam.
Look at these pictures of me, bitch. Sorry.
Nuptials, the line of the night. Nuptials.
He sent nudes, didn't he? Isn't that a thing?
No, I don't think so. But
I just figured he would have. I just figured he would.
Well, I believe, exposed himself to a massage therapist.
Oh, man. Okay, so anybody's gonna isolate that. So just so it sounds accurate, take out the these pictures of me. These pictures of.
Yeah.
Look at me.
So he says, line of the night. Nuptials will turn to napalm as the match made in heaven turns to the match made in hell. If that's not getting your $24, I don't know what's gonna do it for you.
Yeah, I know.
Our announced team tonight: Gorilla Monsoon, Rowdy Piper, Bobby Heenan.
That's a match made in heaven.
There's some good moments. There's a third wheel to this announced team, and we'll perhaps get to it.
Okay.
So Piper is just looking fresh out of Frogtown, and he is fucking hyped for what's going on tonight.
He is ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Our opening match is The Dragon, not Ricky Steamboat. Very important.
Yeah.
The Dragon, Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, British Bulldog versus the Warlord and Power and Glory. Ricky Steamboat comes out. They just dressed him like a dragon. His boots have scales on the back of them.
Dusty, he's the dragon.
It's a cool entrance. He blows fire. Not a real dragon.
Yeah.
he was the Intercontinental Champion. It's the same guy. Call him the Dragon now.
I mean, so he's a honky tonk man. Guess what he is? A honky tonk man.
It's true.
They dress him as a honky tonk man.
Yeah.
And he was the greatest ever IC champion.
I wrote that Power and Glory look like the before guys in a Spider-Man cartoon where they turn into Spider-Man villains. And then I wrote, actually, all three of them do. Because, they all look like guys who had tragic accidents, and now Paul Roma's the Scorpion or whatever.
Yeah. I just I don't care about these fucking guys.
Yeah, it's...
Who's the best guy out of that team?
Out of
Warlord, Paul Roma, and Hercules.
Oof.
I can tell you before you answer. You
Yeah.
can punt on this because I'm not going to pick one, and I can't pick one.
I believe it is Hercules.
Okay.
I will go with Hercules.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to renege. I'll go Hercules.
Okay. There's a big... Kerry Von Erich, very over here.
Dude, and he's he does not move like a man with one foot. I can tell you that. He's moving around really well.
Yeah, he's doing very well here. And but this match stinks. It's just really bad. And they have Ricky Steamboat as the mythical creature in peril for quite a while. They're just working him over. Then there's a big schmoz at the end, and Steamboat comes off the top rope with a body press to Paul Roma, and that picks up the win. 10 minutes, 43 seconds, 2.25 stars from Meltzer. This barely escapes the stink zone just because I like the guys on the babyface team so much.
This
I
one's
don't
tough.
want to do it to him.
This one was tough. I can't shit on Kerry Von Erich.
Yeah.
But this stunk. I'm not like, I don't really get the British Bulldog thing. The cornrows are weird.
Yeah,
They're
bizarre,
weird.
Dude.
He is bizarre. That's the best moment in British Bulldog history.
Why is he going to win the Royal Rumble?
Because I'm bizarre. I like this is the beginning of, because it's the beginning of the show, but when the Brain and Piper start going at it, and Piper says something, and the Brain goes, "Remember, Monsoon, you promised me that Piper would not bother me during the broadcast." and then
I like the Heenan side of the Piper Heenan situation. I think Rowdy Piper is, I don't want to besmirch the man.
Yeah.
I will just say I think he's bringing too much energy, and I think he thinks he's funnier than he is. Like, he thinks every line that he's saying is gonna fucking zing.
Yeah.
And most of them don't zing.
Yeah, I thought the beginning of him calling brain boobs was funny. There was a part where Kerry Von Erich kept hitting, bounced. I refuse to remember which one it was. Bounced one of their guys' heads on the turnbuckle 10 times, and Piper goes, "Just to help you out, boobs. They went up to 10 there. I know you have trouble past 7." And Brain goes, "Monsoon, tell him not to call me boobs."
Yeah, him almost just not acknowledging Rowdy Piper is my favorite part of this thing. Like and putting Monsoon in the middle as like the mediator is a very funny premise. Rowdy Piper just grates on me, man. His commentary grates on me.
I think I liked him more than you did. Because there was never really a time where I was like, man, Piper's talking too much. Like, every once in a while a joke falls, but like, I was cool with it for the most part. And I'm guessing, I guess we'll get there, but I'm guessing you didn't like Piper during the Virgil match.
We will get there.
Yeah. Okay.
Next up is Mr. Perfect versus Bret Hart for the Intercontinental title.
Sucked. Let's move on.
Yeah. We reviewed this whenever we did our Bret Hart deep dive. The short version is this match rules, particularly for WWF in 1991. Hennig has a terrible back injury and is just bumping his ass off for Bret Hart to help make him in this match. And the crowd is eating it up. Like, it's so good. And
yeah, it's really good. It's my favorite Mr. Perfect match for sure.
Yeah. In the end, whenever, Bret finally gets him in the sharpshooter and he has to submit, there's a huge pop. Like, there's no reason to really go into it further. If you want to hear a full recap and review of that match, there's the Bret Hart deep dive that we did. This went 18 minutes 4 seconds, got 4 stars, and I just really liked it. This match is very good. So
yeah, it's super good. Mr. Perfect has the least safe singlet in the history of wrestling. He always loses a singlet.
And his hair's and the humidity is doing no favors to Mr. Perfect's hair tonight.
His hair was generally a problem. Like, when he walked in, it was fine when it was all slicked up and gross, and then but as soon as it started getting any ruffles, he's straight up the fucking Doc from Back to the Future. So
once there's some frizz in it, it's a rough sell for Mr. Perfect.
It's a great match, though. Great match.
Next, in case you want to spend more money on pay-per-view, there's one hot ticket coming up in October. Hulk Hogan, A Real American Story on pay-per-view. I've never seen this. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I imagine it stinks.
Yeah, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah. It looks like full Hulk Hogan propaganda.
Yeah.
And I will not take part in it.
Oh, brother, I was almost in fucking Metallica, brother. That's fucking the end.
I had Saddam down for the leg drop, brother. The last second. So we go backstage. Mean Gene is with the Bushwhackers and Andre the Giant. And I just don't like seeing Andre the Giant this way. He's in real bad shape.
Yeah, they probably should have taken him off TV a long time. I mean, he wanted. It's hard though, because like, he's obviously earned the spot. People like seeing him, and he probably enjoys himself.
And it's very easy to garner sympathy for him because everyone loves Andre.
Yeah, so. It just fucking reminds me that we all die someday. But yeah, I don't like him with the almost the arm crutches that Jimmy from South Park uses.
Yeah.
I thought Andre the Giant was gonna be like, what a beautiful audience.
That's very similar to an Andre accent.
Oh shit!
So they show a clip of Andre being attacked by the earthquake on WWF Superstars, which is the impetus for this match. The recently turned tugboat is now Typhoon, and he is teaming with Earthquake.
They fucked up, man. They fucked up.
White meat babyface tugboat.
Should have stayed tugboat.
So we have the Natural Disasters versus the Bushwhackers. I did like this. Rowdy Piper at one point asks Bobby Heenan what strategy he would give the Bushwhackers if he managed the Bushwhackers. And Bobby goes, if I managed the Bushwhackers, I'd kill myself.
And immediately Piper goes, listen, do you think we could get you the gig?
Yeah.
That was a good line.
The Bushwhackers resort to their offense, which is butt biting and using their own heads as offensive weapons to attack the Natural Disasters.
They licked a man in the front row, and the man asked for the lick.
Yeah.
Is weird.
Tough in a pre-COVID world, real tough in a post-COVID world.
Listen, I thought about COVID a lot during this thing because at Macho Man's wedding reception, he is licking all over his fingers with that cake, and I was just thinking, how many fucking people got COVID? Oh wait, COVID didn't exist then. At least this one. The battering ram is stupid, Dusty. It's a stupid move, Dusty.
Rank these moves.
Oh, okay.
In the order of their inefficiency.
Okay.
The moves you hate: top rope axe handle, spike pile driver, battering ram.
Okay, battering ram is least effective, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's not going to hurt you at all.
Yeah.
Double axe handle off the top rope is second least effective because it hurts probably just getting bopped on the head like a field mouse, but
yeah,
it's annoying, Spike pile driver, you're still getting a pile driver.
Yeah.
But the spike part of the spike pile driver, if it's just the spike part,
right,
it's either least effective or tied with the battering ram.
Right. Your beef with the spike pallet driver is that the spike part of it is not making it hurt anymore.
It's just a pile driver, and pile drivers are dope.
I'm just clearing up where the beef lies.
Yeah. Double axe handle is just getting bocked on the head, and the battering ram is just stupid. You're not even going to get a bruise.
Yeah. The butt bite is a more effective offensive maneuver.
100%. The lick, because you can get the flu. You're not getting the flu from the battering ram.
The Bushwhackers, they play a long game with their matches.
What if that's how Houdini died? He got battering rammed.
Just Luke and Butch both.
Yeah.
Okay, so this match, there's a whole lot of nothing. The Natural Disasters take over, and of course is the newly formed team and a threat to be presented later on. They end up winning with the Earthquake butt splash at 6 minutes 27 seconds. This got 3/4 of a star, and it gets a 1 on the old stinkometer.
What would you rather take, the Earthquake butt splash or a stink face?
I think the butt splash.
Okay.
Because the butt splash isn't going in my face. John Tenta's region is in my face if he sits on me. But the stink face, it's direct butt to face contact.
It's still unfathomable that was like a move that a man in a thong put his big fat ass in your mouth.
Yeah. And it was a babyface move.
And
the crowd ate it up. It was not reviled for such a thing.
It was very over with 12-year-old Andrew, I could tell you that. But I feel like the butt splash might kill me.
Well,
I'm a very small man, so
yeah. I guess I'm thinking in wrestling terms. I'm expecting John Tenta not to hurt me if he butt splashes me.
Yeah, but I feel
It's
like
just my
he's still
discomfort.
just sitting on you, isn't he? Like, or is he working that a little bit?
He's on his haunches, I think.
What are
Because
haunches?
he kind of goes to like the side whenever he like butt splashes you.
I gotta watch this again. Maybe he catches himself with the arms a little bit or something. But like, if he's just sitting on you and they're just banking on it, like it's gonna hurt, but it's not gonna hurt you that bad. Because some wrestling moves, like it's gonna hurt, but you're gonna be fine. So we're gonna do it and it be real, you know?
Right.
I assumed that was the case with the butt splash, but
I think it probably is uncomfortable.
yeah, it probably sucks.
Yeah, but I don't think it hurts. I mean, the stink face doesn't hurt. If the options are a dude's like area is generally in my face, but he's not like shoving it in my face.
Yeah.
I'll take that of the two options. If those are once again, those are the only two options. I'm taking that over dude's ass directly in my face.
Has anybody ever shot on the stink face? Like talked about like what it smelled like?
No, I have heard that if Rikishi liked you, he would be a lot. He would make sure that he was more cleaned up, I guess. I don't know.
Imagine, bro. Imagine.
No,
like I'm gonna put my ass in that dude's face. I'm gonna stink it up real good before I do it.
Yeah.
My insecure ass, it would be squeaky clean no matter who it is, because I want my enemies to know that I smell like an angel. Like,
right.
I want them to be like, God damn, Andrew is put together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
they. So after the match, that's the thing that might turn enemies to friends. You know, if they understand that you're a clean.
I actually found it quite pleasant.
Yeah. Natural disasters after the match are looking to put a hurting on Andre, and Andre's trying to keep him at a distance with his arm crutches, and then the Legion of Doom come out. Of course, still wearing the shoulder pads. Once the pads are on, they're on. They drove to the arena that way. So they come out and
imagine them getting in a car.
Right. It's like you can only drive over the spikes one way, you know?
They have to in their rider, you have to get they need a convertible.
Yeah. Oh, please don't back up.
Yeah.
And then they shoo the natural disasters away. So, and then Andre gets licked by the Bushwhackers, which I'm sure he was delighted about. This is Andre's last appearance in the WWF. He makes a brief appearance on a WCW show for the 20 years of the Superstation in 1992, and then he unfortunately is dead in early 1993.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Backstage, Bobby Heenan goes to confront Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's door backstage just says Hulk on it. Just a little paper sign. It says Hulk on it.
What else is it gonna say? What I'm finding though, a lot of dressing rooms, paper signs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what else do you do?
Snoop Dogg had a velvet rope and bodyguards outside. Every other person backstage had no bodyguards, nothing. You can just walk into their thing. Snoop Dogg had a velvet rope, bodyguards, all that shit. Paper sign, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. Oh, I go in here. I'm Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
So, Heenan is coming on behalf of Ric Flair. He's got the NWA world title, and he's gonna give Hogan what for, and Hulk just instantly rebuffs him, and Heenan runs away. So this is foreshadowing, because Flair has left WCW at this point. He left in July of 1991, and he is coming to the WWF, I believe, in September. He makes his first appearance. So,
okay. That makes sense, because I was like, wait, Flair's not around. He would be on this show. But
so they're hyping up the real world champion versus the WWF champion.
Yeah, and Heenan was brilliant in this. Like, as soon as Hulk ends, not Hulk, by the way, the door just fucking opens, and
sure.
And he's like, hello. Hello. He does a little nervous cough and shit. Yeah. And he's like, if that was Ric Flair, you wouldn't have done that.
Macho Man is backstage on like a 900 number. So I guess you could call and chat with Macho Man before.
And ask him questions about the fucking wedding. It's like, what? Like, are we like Tell Me Everything chicks? Like,
yeah, it's the song from Grease, the Tell Me More song.
Yeah, exactly. Did she put up a fight? Ooh, as a matter of fact, she did.
Oh, brother. So Savage is in his pre wedding attire of just a delightful tie-dye shirt and and bandana. That's the chillin' Macho Man.
He's kicking it, bro. He's kicking it.
We are backstage with $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and Sherry Martel, and then they play some of the demeaning videos of Virgil throughout the years having to do demeaning tasks at the behest of the $1 Million Man, like clean out fungus from between his toes and wipe manure off of his boots, and then he threw down Virgil's paycheck and made him pick the money up off the ground, and just your classic heel stuff, you know.
Yeah, and Virgil is not stoked nowadays about.
No, he is. Virgil is not chill. Social media. Virgil was never meant to be alive at a time when social media also existed. Because while mourning Coolio, he posted about a time that apparently him and Coolio.
Well, I'll read it. I'll read it. But first, I'll read. Virgil tweeted on September 15th, "It's crazy that I am in a place in life having to have major health issues and being a guy that had to survive as this pathetic character while Ted gets away with this shit is beyond me. I'm sick of it." And it's about Ted with the money stuff.
Yeah.
And then he links his PayPal. And then when Coolio died, Virgil said, "Man, at Coolio, my brother, we hit it all across the land, man. I'm broken about this. Here is some blonde begging us both for some meat sauce. R.I.P. my bro." And I did a little research in the comments. The blonde in the middle is porn star Samantha Roan.
Okay.
But imagine just saying, "Here is some blonde begging us for some meat sauce." Like, I want to see
as the eulogy to your friend.
I'm very interested in, like, imagine being Samantha Roan catching a stray, like, just a stray bullet smoking her in the face. It's like, also, you guys asked me for a picture, asshole.
It's also Virgil being like, "Yes, my friend Coolio died, but in case you're wondering, I do have sex. A lot of sex."
I want to, hold on, this is a dangerous waters. I'm going to look up Samantha Roan and see if she has a Twitter and see if she has responded to this.
Don't
it's very dangerous. Eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. Okay.
Don't look up Dino Bravo while you're doing it again.
Oh my God. Okay. It does not look like she has a Twitter. Maybe she uses her government name, which I'm not going to find out what it is right now. And yeah, don't Google Dino Bravo and click images.
Yeah. You will not get Canadian strongman Dino Bravo. Well, he might be a Canadian strongman.
I wonder if even putting in, I bet Dino Bravo wrestler.
You're still going to catch a stray.
Let me see if I catch any strays on this.
Yeah.
This is science. No, full first page is all Dino Bravo, the wrestler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Way to go, Google.
All you got to do is add wrestler. You get rid of wrestler, and it is chaos. It is chaos.
Just pure chaos.
Absolute chaos.
Yeah. Not unlike this match. We have so Ted DiBiase's basically
not unlike this match.
Yeah. Hey, king of transition over here. Yeah. Ted DiBiase, of course, is like, "Virgil was my." They go a long way not to say slave, but essentially, Virgil is my slave. And
he
now,
was my indenture.
Yeah. So he's like, now he's got to pay. Now he's got to pay up because he's no longer in my good graces. I'm gonna beat his ass. I'm the $1 Million Man. And $1 Million Man, of course, comes out hair looking fresh in the black $1 Million Man suit, just looking great.
He's 1990s handsome. He really is.
He's got a good. The fit is always good for the $1 Million Man. He knows what he's doing.
He's worth $1 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Virgil is essentially like the perfect babyface. The crowd loves Virgil. Even though they didn't know anything about him until very recently, whenever he betrayed the $1 Million Man. But Piper and Virgil are friends, so Piper's on the cosign. Virgil, not a very good wrestler. So a lot of this match is $1 Million Man just beating up Virgil, while the crowd and Rowdy Piper scream at a level that I'm surprised you enjoyed this due to your dislike of loud noise.
Well, I mean, listen, I control the volume of my television.
Yeah, but Piper doesn't control the volume of his voice.
Yeah,
Man
but
is screeching.
it can't go any higher than the volume of my television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's screeching the whole time.
But I thought it was good. I thought he did a great job. I thought he put over Virgil pretty well as the guy that we're all rooting for, and the story of the underdog aspect of all this. I don't know. I for whatever reason I really enjoyed Piper's work here. He's like, come on, Virgil! God damn it! When I was in Frogtown,
what if I had given up in
all the
Frogtown?
odds are against me. You remember Tony? You son of a bitch!
this whole world wouldn't be repopulated if it weren't for me. So
I was giving the meat sauce to all those girls out there.
Virgil slaps the $1 Million Dream on Ted DiBiase, and Sherry attacks him. And there's a disqualification. And Piper's like, oh, God, the $1 Million Man again. And the referee goes way outside of his executive duties and is like, okay, we're going to throw Sherry out and we're going to restart this match. I could do a disqualification, but that is what they want me to do. And I'm not going to do it.
I love how the Fink announced this, because he was like, the referee, which Hebner was it? I never know.
It's Earl Hebner.
Referee Earl Hebner has every right to announce the disqualification of this match. It was perfect. I love how they did it. But
he could declare Virgil the winner right now if he wanted to, but he won't.
Yeah,
because
the belt won't change hands.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about this, though, that he didn't even ask Virgil if he wants the match still going. Or Virgil's unconscious. Virgil was hit in the head by a loaded purse that just knocked him silly, and he's just flat on his face. And Hebner's like, "No, we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep going." Virgil's like, "What?"
It seems at best a stalemate, if not Virgil in the underdog position still.
Yeah, I guess they're both fucked up, but yeah.
Yeah. But DiBiase wasn't hitting the head with anything. He just, he snapped back.
He's just in a sleeper hold. Yeah, he just come back.
So then there's a ref bump, but this is one of the more bizarre ref bumps I've seen in a match because there's really no reason for it. So Hebner gets bumped, and then DiBiase just keeps wrestling Virgil. The Hebner's out, and he's just like, well, I guess I'll just vertical suplex Virgil right now, and then I'm gonna pick him up, I'm gonna power drive him. That's a thing I do. The referee's still down. Okay, well, what other wrestling holds do I know that I can apply?
There ended up being two reasons for it. One, and I didn't like this first reason. One is so DiBiase could cover Virgil and count to 4.
Okay.
After he pile drove him a bunch of times. I don't like that because then he can just be like, "Oh, well, I beat you," but you know what I mean? You're giving the babyface the win here. Just give the fucking babyface the win. You don't have to do all these cover-ups and give all these asterisks to everybody and shit. But the other reason is so he felt empowered to take the pad off the turnbuckle, which you could have found a different way for Virgil to win. It still cheapens Virgil's win for the second time in this entire thing. But that's why.
Well, and so he can talk some shit to Piper because he's like, "Is this your guy?" And he power drives him, and he gets up and he's like, "This your guy?" And so $1 Million Man decides power drivers are not enough. The most dangerous move in wrestling, not enough. He goes over, he takes the turnbuckle pad off, and when you know it, he goes to throw Virgil's head into it. Virgil blocks it, gives $1 Million Man a 2-piece into the turnbuckle, knocks him out. This was the best part of the match. Virgil's down, $1 Million Man's down, and the crowd wants it so bad. Yeah. They want Virgil to win this thing so bad. So he starts crawling over, and you could feel the anticipation from the crowd sort of as the $1 Million Man's not moving and Virgil's slowly crawling over to him, puts one arm over him, referee counts the 3, the crowd erupts. Yeah. It is a huge pop.
This is the most over. This has to be the most over Virgil's ever been, except for that night with Samantha Rowan, apparently.
Yeah, that's and then Piper hits him with a And his Piper's super stoked.
Yeah.
Walking, kick down the door, chop that motherfucking desk in half. And Virgil's the $1 Million champion, and Heenan's screaming about how it's a miscarriage of justice and all this. And Virgil walks back up with the $1 Million belt again, probably the most over he's ever been. They did a really good job. Like, they waited a long time for him to finally turn on $1 Million Man, and then the crowd was suddenly obviously behind him. Like, by default, we have to root for Virgil in this match, you know?
Yeah, and I texted Dusty while I was watching this match, and I was like, I'm invested in this Virgil and Ted DiBiase match.
Yeah. Well, there's
it's
no
the only time
way.
I've ever cared about Virgil.
Yeah, they can't have $1 Million Man make Virgil his servant for years, and then whenever he finally gets out from under his thumb, beat him in their wrestling match.
It's true, but it'd be funny.
But you could see it. If Eric Bischoff, imagine the heat. If they,
Yeah,
if
that's the
Bischoff
thing.
were in charge, yeah.
You never pay that shit off. You just keep getting heat and heat and heat and heat and heat. And heat. You never give them what they want, then you fucking go out of business.
Yeah. Mean Jane's backstage with the Mountie. They show the Nasty Boys and the Mountie beating up the Big Boss Man with a taser, and then the Mountie's backstage with some New York City cops, and he's like screaming about how he's gonna beat the Big Boss Man, and then the cops are gonna have to put him in the paddy wagon and take him downtown because the Mountie always gets his man. I did not enjoy this promo because it is very yelly from Jacques Rougeau.
Oh yeah.
And it was fine. It was perfectly serviceable heel promo. Then we go to Sean Mooney, who's with the Big Boss Man, and he essentially yells back at the Mountie and tells him that he's going to serve hard time. And on this podcast, as you know, we stand for Ray Traylor. We love Ray Traylor.
We love the man, and we like the Rougeaus.
Yeah, well, I hate the Rougeaus.
Ray Traylor's our boy.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you fell fast.
I was backstage talking to the Undertaker. What was I gonna do? The Big Boss Man versus the Mountie in a jailhouse match. This is a classic blue versus red situation.
Yeah, that is true.
Tale as old as time.
That is true.
Love must be given, penance must be paid, attention given to Jimmy Hart's jacket that he's wearing here.
It is a good jacket. I'm not the biggest Jimmy Hart guy. I'm never good, Jimmy Hart's here. But I know he's like a wrestling guy, like he's been around forever, right? But
yeah. Well, he used to have jackets for each one of the guys he managed.
Yeah.
Different jackets, which is a good move.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
You know me, big fan of that.
Gorilla calls Jimmy Hart a walking advertisement for birth control. And I was like, whoa, Gorilla, it's 1991, man. Calm down with all that.
There's a couple jokes in this stuff that a little 1991 of them.
Yeah, Sarah was pointing out to me while we were watching it that she does not believe that cut-off sleeves are a part of the Canadian Mounted Police's standard uniform.
That is true.
Yeah,
I don't think they would allow that.
No, but if you're Jacques Rougeau, you got to shut the guns off,
Yeah, and they're not allowed guns in Canada, so he might as well. That's
Right.
how police. That's how police assert their dominance.
Yeah. So he has a cattle prod. That's how he does it. So, what did you think? Did you notice the Big Boss Man selling of the Pallor driver that he took?
I didn't notice.
He gets Pallor drive by the Mountie, and he pops up and he shakes his head from side to side like he's a dog that just put its head in the water. And he was like real shaky afterwards.
He's trying, man. He's trying something.
Gotta laugh out of me,
I need to see it now.
Yeah, you got to go back at least for this one thing. Yeah. So then the Mountie misses with the cattle prod, and then he kicks out of the Boss Man Slam. Good looking Boss Man Slam, which was surprising to me because that's his finish, and I don't know if something happened or if they planned it that way. But then Boss Man hits him with like a over the shoulder slam and picks up the pin in 9 minutes 38 seconds. This got a 1.5 stars. This avoids Stinctitude. That Pallor driver sale really gave me a laugh. So I also am very self-conscious because Sarah makes fun of the way that I say Pallor driver. So
you do say pile driver wrong. Weird.
You say like pile driver.
Right, that's what she says. But so then I have to try to enunciate. It's a pile driver.
Yeah.
So
what's up with that?
I don't know. I think it's maybe I heard too many Southern wrestling commentators just call it a pile driver, and that's like.
But a pile driver, like a pile of driver, almost.
Right, as opposed to a pile driver.
That's like one of the only things that like I've never pointed out.
Yeah.
For some reason, but I'm always like every time it's like Dusty says pile driver, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the way that
we might need to issue an apology on.
I also say TV weird, according to her.
Well, because you say TV, you put an emphasis on the T, like on my TV, like instead of TV. But I do that with you sometimes too.
Yeah,
because that's how you say it.
But now
she start telling you when you say things weird.
But now she does it too. No, I'd rather you didn't. Because
yeah, that's why I was like, I stayed away from the pile driver thing.
But I don't hear it. So every time that I see that pile driver is in my notes, I have to remember, like, okay, I have to make a concerted effort to not say it wrong.
I'm gonna send her some flowers for telling you that, because for months. You gotta go back to the old episodes and listen to how you say pile. How you say it?
No, I hear it. I just like the way my brain goes there first. It doesn't. Yeah. I have to really think about it to not do it. So
well, you know what? That's growth.
Yeah,
marriage is doing good things for you.
Yeah. The police come out and they grab the Mountie and they're throw him in the back of the paddy wagon, and we get to see the dragon backstage, the undragoned. He's just hanging out in a shirt, you know.
Just kicking
Can't break the fourth wall like that.
That's Ricky, dog.
Yeah, that ain't the dragon at all.
That's Ricky. That's straight up
Dick
Ricky.
Blood, dude. Right there.
That's Dick Blood, bro.
Such a good wrestling name, Richard Blood. You're gonna change it to Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah, I can't believe his name is Richard Blood. I just can't believe it.
It's almost impossible that it would be that. And
I gotta figure out how that happened.
Yeah. The paddy wagon looks weird to me. It looks like an ambulance.
So apparently he married a woman named Deborah Blood in 1981. Did he marry either? Wikipedia's just writing her name.
Sure.
She married Steamboat. She's now Deborah Blood for the rest of her life. Or Ricky Steamboat married a relative, huh?
Oh.
Did we start this rumor?
I think that would be irresponsible of us.
Is he still alive?
I think
we can wait till he dies. How about we wait till he dies?
Okay.
Yeah. He can't defend himself. That's how I like it.
This
he wrestled under Sam Steamboat Jr. Was his dad Sam Steamboat?
No, his dad's last name is Blood.
No, I'm just talking about was it?
Oh, God damn it, Andrew! His last name is Blood.
His name is Blood.
You don't understand how it works. I can't say Pallor Driver. You don't know. The names are handed down through the patriarchal line.
His name is Blood. Well, I'm glad he went from. He had to have started as Sam Steamboat, because you don't start with Ricky Steamboat, which is a good name, and go to Sam Steamboat. Anyway. I'm wasting time. I apologize. Dick Blood, he should have stuck with.
Is it an ambulance painted as a police van, or is it a police van that's just big?
I don't know, man. There are ambulance-looking police vans. The only reason I know the answer to that is I saw one today in somebody's Twitter header.
Oh, okay. Well, we go backstage. Mean Gene is back there, and $1 Million Man comes in. He is hot, and he's just like, "Shut up, Okerlund! It's a travesty of justice. I can't deal with this."
I love that
shit. Sherry's losing, as you would say, her goddamn.
Yeah, she's losing her goddamn, man.
Yeah, and Sarah was like, "Did she have like schizophrenia that is noted?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so."
She does have crazy eyes. She does have crazy eyes.
But all of these are like little quick interstitials. Like they do a promo with Bret Hart, which isn't very good. He's like, he's stoked. He's the Intercontinental Champion now. Then we go backstage with the Natural Disasters, and Earthquake is not wearing the top part of his singlet, and that's just really not a good look for him. Like,
I mean, he's not George Clooney, John Tenta is. I feel like Tenta might have been a handsome guy if under all that. You know?
Well, we'll get to it later. Very young Earthquake in this pay-per-view. So
I'm always shocked by how young he is, and every time we see him.
Yeah, so there's a lot of yelling about how they won and now they're going to take on the Legion of Doom, etc. And then they go back with Big Boss Man, and he's like, I told you. I'm the goddamn law around here. And ain't no Canadian going to be the law. It's me, Big Boss Man.
And they cut back, and it was obvious that he was already flipping his
Stick.
billy club or whatever it's called. Like
they probably did the same. They probably recorded the promo at the same time. Because they know who's going to win, so they probably did the before promo and they did the after promo.
Yeah.
Macho Man's with Mean Gene, like these are all in a row. And now he's got his wedding undershirt on, but he's still talking on the hotline. Like he's changed into the front part of his tuxedo. But Mean Gene's trying to get a word in edgewise with him, and then he's like, well, maybe I'll just go see what Liz is up to. And he's like, what, Elizabeth? No, I don't think so. He's like, now it's a party line call. It's me, you, and whoever this dude is on the line. And
is he afraid that Elizabeth is gonna run off with Mean Gene?
Hey, you don't know what Gene gets up to. He was pretty loose in the reception, man.
He probably is a sly feller.
Yeah,
he kept calling her Mrs. Macho. I will get to that.
Yeah. Then they have an intermission, a 5-minute intermission, apparently, where they went to somebody in England. Oh, Lord Alfred Hayes, but luckily we didn't have to watch that. And then we come back.
Seriously, thank God.
Yeah. We come back, and the paddy wagon has taken the Mountie to jail. And the whole time they've got him, he just keeps yelling, do you know who I am? I'm the Mountie. He's like, I don't go to jail.
They should have done this whole bounty thing differently, in my opinion. I think he should have been pissed like this, like at the first, like screaming and all that stuff. He was just screaming the whole time, which I think was like, how long is this perp walk? They're just walking this guy for fucking 45 minutes through this jail, like they're going, like it's a maze, like they're in Spinal Tap and they can't find the exit.
Yeah, it's the hedge maze from The Shining that they're trying to get through. Yeah,
he should have been like screaming, and then at one point he starts pleading, and then he's crying, and then like he's on the phone calling Canada, like broadly he's calling Canada and asking,
or he's on the phone with Jimmy Hart
or anything like that, you know. But all they're doing is walking him through, and he's screaming, and the cops keep getting sweatier and sweatier. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Well, it's real hot because everybody's sweating in this arena. So, well, it also would have been funny, like, if he had tried to bribe the cops, but he only had Canadian money. He only had, like, toonies or whatever.
You could have done so many things.
Yeah.
All he's got in his pocket is, like, loose maple syrup.
Just...
he's like, you can put it in jars.
Yeah. Well, or he's trying to trade contraband, and he's like, I got the good stuff, and they think it's cigarettes or whatever, and he's trying to trade them maple syrup. And,
he's got like a perfect maple leaf.
Yeah. But call us, WWE. We got it.
It's 100% moose pelt.
Yeah. It's a $20 gift card to Tim Hortons. You know how much you can get at Tim Hortons? We're backstage with the Nasty Boys. If the Power and Glory Warlord team are Spider-Man villains that are some act of science turns them into monsters. I believe we talked about it before. The Nasty Boys have Big, Bebop, and Rocksteady from the
they're for sure Ninja Turtle villains.
Yeah. And Andrew, the Nasty Boys are
Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags. Thank you.
Look at that.
You know what I noticed in this match? Jerry Sags has SAG tattooed on his arm. I don't think there's an S at the end.
I don't think I've ever noticed that.
Yeah, it at least looked like it. I'll look to see.
What if he just quit at the end? The first S hurt too bad, and he's like, "No, it's good enough."
Yeah, they'll know.
So, really, the only thing to admire here are the mullets on the Nasty Boys. We go back through. The Mountie is now getting his picture taken. He continues to scream about how he is the Mountie. The Legion of Doom have an interview with Mean Gene where they are very calm and sort of understated, which I thought was a nice change of pace for the Legion of Doom. Hawk is wearing the reading glasses that you have to flip down, the trifocal glasses.
Animal smoking a pipe. Is this the promo you're talking about?
Yes.
Animal does yell, but yeah, it is less yelly. And I just love that Hawk at one point, he's like, the thing that's first on our minds are rotten minds.
Yeah. There is a good go-away line or go-home line here where Hawk says, there's boys, there's men, and then there's monsters. And then he's like, what a rush, because that's his, tagline. The Mountie gets fingerprinted. I thought this was a good bit where he's like, you want the finger? And then he flips off the cop, and then the cop just bends the finger back to put it in the ink. Thought that was funny. Sargent Slaughter is doing another promo. There's just like 50 promos in a row for some reason. He calls Sean Mooney a piece of human garbage, which is pretty funny. The Triangle of Terror is going to beat the Ultimate Puke and Puke Hogan tonight. And I just can't. We'll get to it because I have some notes on it. So what a terrible idea this whole thing was. But it's the main event. So
I agree. Go ahead.
So Sid is also backstage with Mean Gene, and Sarah was very surprised, she said, to learn that Carrot Top previously had a career as a pro wrestler.
Oh shit.
Yeah, she's got zingers, dude. Nailed you, fucking Sid.
So
or Carrot Top, whichever one. I don't know.
Knobs and Sags. Sid looks nothing like Carrot Top, by the way.
He's got curly hair, and he's jacked.
He's got curly hair. I can't believe Carrot Top was Sean Hunter's best friend in Boy Meets World. Knobs and Sags both have their last names misspelled tattooed on their arms. Knobs. Okay. Brian Knobs has Knobs. Sags has Sag, SAG.
That's got to be on purpose, right? That's a bit.
Yeah, I don't know what they're. We're so nasty.
Yeah.
You know what's clean?
Grammar.
Yeah. Being able to spell.
Yeah. It's funny because my name is Knobs, but I put knobs with one B on my arm forever. So jokes on them, I guess. So our next match finally is the Legion of Doom versus the Nasty Boys for the WWF Tag Team titles. This is a no disqualification match. Did you notice the woman in the crowd who was decked out in full Nasty Boys attire and had two Nasty Boy dolls that appeared homemade?
I certainly did not, but
a Knobs and a Sags.
She doesn't smell good.
So, Animal busts out a power bomb in 1991. Way to go, Animal!
Fuck
and then Hawk hits an Inzaguri. So he's like, "Oh, we're doing Japanese shit."
I was gonna say, we've been to Japan.
Yeah. This match stinks.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but it does. Like, the Nasty Boys had such a good, like, brawl, crazy match with the Steiner brothers. That match we watched from the previous year's Halloween Havoc when they were in WCW that, like, was all over the place. And then, like, this as a no DQ match almost had nothing happen in it that was worthy of being disqualified. Aside from Jimmy Hart's helmet at the end of the match.
I thought that it being no DQ made it obvious, and I was obviously wrong, that the Natural Disasters were going to come in.
Oh, yeah, that would have made sense. They're all managed by Jimmy Hart. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So the end of this match, the Nasty Boys get hit with their own motorcycle helmet, which they had previously used to win the tag titles from the Hart Foundation at WrestleMania 7. So that's a bit coming back. I don't know that they thought of that when they did this, but that's the way it goes. And then the Legion of Doom hit the Doomsday Device, still maybe the coolest double team finisher of all time.
It's a good one. It really is a good one.
It just looks really cool. And when the guy can pull the backflip off of it, like, it looks especially cool. I had, the little flip book that like has the pictures in it and goes from like left to right.
Yeah.
I had one of those from the WWF cereal that I used to eat that was of the Doomsday device, and it's always looked cool.
How was the cereal?
I think it was like kind of a Lucky Charms knockoff because like the wrestlers were marshmallowy.
Oh,
and then
shit!
It was like grains, it was like little wrestler. Like, it was supposed to be in their likeness. You're supposed to be like, oh shit, that's Shawn Michaels, but it's they all kind of look the same.
Yeah. You're just a sexy marshmallow. Blam, blam,
Yeah.
blam.
No, this is Rockers, Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
Back when he needed Jannetty, before he don't need Jannetty.
There wasn't a Jannetty marshmallow, I could tell you that.
And the Legion of Doom win the World Tag Team title, 7 minutes, 45 seconds. It's got 2.5 stars. I was just like mostly underwhelmed. I was just like, I expected way more. But the history or the trivia of this was winning these titles made the Legion of Doom the first team and only team in wrestling history to win the WWF, NWA, and AWA World Tag Team titles.
I mean, I don't know if there's a more deserving team.
No, and they like
the Legion
they
of
were
Doom,
over like they were over like hell,
They could be number one. They could be the GOAT tag team.
Yeah, they certainly have they certainly have a claim for it.
Yeah. I mean, there's other ones, but like the Legion of Doom was a very prominent tag team for a long time. They did the territory stuff, they did the mainstream stuff, they did Japan, they did all this shit, and they were over everywhere. Everybody loved them. Like, I don't know, man. They might be the best tag team ever.
Yeah, and like, I mean, they have a pop named after them. So what do you? The Road Warrior pop is because of the Road Warriors.
Yeah,
like you're so over that there's a difference between when another babyface comes out and when you come out. So we next have the Mountie just casually being brutalized by the police, and then they throw him into the drunk tank or whatever this communal cell is, and he is displeased.
Yeah,
I'd say the least.
Dude, that you talk about Piper, like his screaming was getting to me.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I was sick of it.
Like you said, there should have been there should have been waves. A
little bit of volume control. Well,
and just like to go from yelling to pleading is such a good comedic.
Yeah,
like that's a Bobby Heenan move.
Yeah,
like that's what makes Heenan so funny and so good, is that he's got all the hubris and then he's got to eat shit and then he cowers. But Mountie, he's a proud Canadian. He doesn't want to do that. So
yeah, but that's another thing. Canadians don't yell. What are you talking about?
Right.
Bret Hart gave the only non-yelling promo on this show.
That's true. For some reason, they thought, man, this crowd in New York City, it's hot. We're going to give them a wedding. We're going to give them a match made in hell. We definitely have to give them IRS versus Greg the Hammer Valentine. Like, nobody's going home happy if they don't see the Hammer.
Yeah, IRS versus Greg, taxation is theft, Valentine.
Nice.
That's he couldn't look more like that guy. So it's just absolutely perfect.
I wrote that Greg Valentine is coming straight from reading declassified documents at Mar-a-Lago for this match.
How many of his buddies do you think Trump was like, "Hey, you want to come see some shit?"
Yeah, you want to see some nuke codes, bro?
That says classified on it. That means it's classified.
But guess who it's not classified to? Me.
Yeah.
Oh shit! It is classified for me. God damn it!
Don't look at my hands.
So, this match stinks. The IRS is a fairly new character. He's got to get wins over his, for some reason, babyface Greg Valentine, which is one of the more unnatural fits that there is. He's a booable man. He has a perfectly serviceable role in pro wrestling as a man to boo, but to cheer Greg Valentine seems odd.
I had the same thought. I was like, wait, Greg Valentine is the babyface in this scenario? Like, this match is going to bomb.
Also, only because the other dude is yelling at you about tax code.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the one thing we hate more than Greg Valentine is taxes.
yeah. The IRS, of course, finds a way out here at the end. He reverses a figure four into a small package to get the win because we need the heel to go over strong. He doesn't even have to cheat to beat Greg Valentine.
Yeah, it's Greg fucking Valentine. But there's the man always wins by small package. Like,
that's true. That's how they get
you. Just when you think they got you, you got them. No, motherfucker, you ain't getting the man in a figure four. It's gonna seal the deal.
There was I once made a wrestler in a SmackDown game, I think, that I used to play with my buddy all the time, that I named the Man. And he was just a dude in a suit, and he was very slender, and all of his attacks were like groin attacks.
Fuck yeah!
And it was very funny to play as him because every move was just kicking the other dude in the crotch. And then I gave him ironically, I gave him the figure four, the strutting figure four as his finisher because there's a lot of showboating.
Well, so Greg Valentine might be closer to the Man because he does headbutt IRS in the nuts during this match.
So this is 7 minutes, 7 seconds. This gets a star and a quarter. It is short enough to be inoffensive, but it is very close to stinctitude. That's also what she said.
Yeah.
Also,
it's not good.
For the love of God, order this Hulk Hogan pay-per-view.
Yeah, please. Please.
It's the American story. We are backstage with Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, and I didn't even transpose or transcribe what they said. A bunch of gobbledygook. And then they look like they're going to give each other a little good luck smooch before the match because they get real close to each other's face. And I was like, man, how funny would it be if they just kissed right in front of Mean Gene?
Yeah, and somebody was outnumbered. I can't remember what. And then the guy doing the interview, what's that guy's name? Who's that guy? I asked Dusty as he's drinking his bottle of water.
Mean Gene?
No, it wasn't Mean Gene. It was the other guy. White bread.
Oh, Sean Mooney.
Sean Mooney. So Sean Mooney is like talking about, speaking of outnumbered, you guys have this match against Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, and Slaughter's like, outnumbered? They're the ones who are going to be outnumbered, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, dumbass. That's what Sean Mooney was talking about.
Yeah. It's 3-on-2, dude. You have 3.
Yeah.
They have 2. Yeah.
It is weird. And I just don't like the Iron Sheik. He stands weird. Yeah. His back goes straight up into his neck. I don't like the mustache. I don't like the shoes. Well, the pointy shoes aren't the worst thing in the world. I think that's kind of funny. I don't like that a couple days ago the Iron Sheik tweeted. Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second.
Yes.
Oh, where is it? She say, "Do you love me?" I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mama. I am sorry, you dumb son of a bitch. All whoever runs this fucking guy's Twitter did was take a Drake line and add "you dumb son of a bitch" to it.
Yeah.
I just wish I had a joke formula that was that easy, right?
Yeah.
It makes me so mad, bro.
It's because jealousy is what it sounds like.
Listen, if you want to characterize it as that, that's fine, you know?
Yeah.
But in an effort to reduce climate change, go fuck yourself. And people are like, "Oh, Sheiky, that's why we love you, man." Oh, man.
He tells it like it is, you know. So then we get backstage with Sid, and Sid looks like the tallest man who's ever lived in this promo. Like the way they were shooting him, he's tall anyway, but he looked impossibly tall in this backstage promo. And they have him in a shirt that makes his torso look even longer, you know, and he's super jacked at this point.
Is he already in the ref shirt?
Yeah.
I love that they always put the wrestlers in little tiny ref shirts because it makes them look bigger.
Sarah said that this is a racerback tank top. So
Razorbacks, bro, we're fucking woo pig suey, motherfucker.
No, racer, like Speed Racer. Yeah,
I know. I gotta look this up. Racerback shirt.
Because there's racerback bras, apparently. Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen these before.
So, because it's almost like a like a halter top, but it doesn't tie, and it still has the little strip down the back of it. So, anyway, he's going to call it down the middle. He met earlier with the Triangle of Terror, but they're trying to swerve Sid with slanderous journalism, and he's like, "No, I'm the justice around here." Blah blah blah. Main event: Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, versus the Triangle of Terror of Sargent Slaughter, General Adnan, Colonel Mustafa, aka the Iron Sheik. This is at a time when the Iron Sheik. There's a very funny story of him signing with WCW in 1989 because George Scott became the booker, and he was a booker in the early 80s of WWE. So he brought over a bunch of the washed up WWE guys that didn't fit in the NWA anymore. And he signed the Iron Sheik to a 2-year deal, and the second year was a pickup option. So like they had to let the Iron Sheik know 30 days in writing that they were going to terminate his deal, otherwise it would automatically roll over. Mm-hmm. So they get the Iron Sheik on TV, and he's so terrible that he can't have matches. Like they can't even put him in jobber matches. And so they send him home. And then they forget that the Iron Sheik is at home. So they don't execute the 90-day option on his contract, and it rolls over. So he got paid $200,000 to not wrestle because he was in such bad shape that he couldn't wrestle. And then when he got out of his WCW deal, he came to WWF, came back because obviously he's tailor-made for this fucking anti-American Iran or this anti-American Iraq gimmick. But he can't be the Iron Sheik because Iron Sheik's from Iran. So now he's Colonel Mustafa, who clearly looks like the Iron Sheik. So
it's
bad.
Like the only appealing thing about the Iron Sheik is that he's the Iron Sheik. It's an iconic thing. You just call him something else. He's not that anymore. You take the one appealing thing away from him. Now he's just some asshole who can't fucking wrestle or talk and has a thumb for a head and he's either got no neck or no back. Either his neck goes all the way to his ass or his back goes all the way to the bottom of his head, right?
Right. That's
and he sucks on Twitter.
Ironically, Sarah loves the Iron Sheik. I don't know why. She just
how he hasn't done anything. He's just standing there.
She saw a picture of him one time and she thought it was hilarious.
It's the mustache.
Yeah, and
I'm starting to figure out that girls like the curly mustache, and I don't get it.
Yeah,
there's a guy. I'm not going to mention his name. There's a guy who is around our circles sometimes, a couple times it has happened, who's got a curly mustache and has dated a couple of girls that I know, and I'm like, hey, what's up with the mustache thing? You like that mustache? And they're like, yeah, we like the mustache. I'm like, you like those fucking mustaches?
Yeah.
Anyway.
This match stinks. We had to see Vlad the Superfan. That's the highlight of this match.
We did get to see Vlad the Superfan.
Sergeant Slaughter takes one good bump in this match. He gets his classic bump where he gets thrown into the turnbuckle and he flips like all the way over the turnbuckle and comes back in. But this match has a ton of heat, so like, but who cares? I guess I'm wrong. But
the other funny thing that happens is, I actually liked this. Sergeant Slaughter was up on the corner to do a splash or whatever on Hulk Hogan, and Warrior walks over to the corner and just puts his hand on Slaughter's butt and like slightly pushes him as he jumps, and it causes Slaughter to like super overshoot Hogan and jump all the way across the ring and land on the mat. I thought that was funny.
Otherwise, General Adnan's old. Iron Sheik can't move, and he puts the camel clutch on Hogan, so I guess he fucking humble him in this instance.
Don't do that. Don't humor him and pander to his horse shit.
So Warrior comes back, hits a flying clothesline on Slaughter, makes the hot tag, and then chases Colonel Mustafa and General Adnan backstage. Hogan uses powder in the ring that's apparently some sort of advanced knockout powder because he throws it in Slaughter's face, and Slaughter takes a back bump and like is out. He's just out cold. And then Hogan drops the leg on him, and that is the finish at 12 minutes 40 seconds. Gets a star and a quarter, but stinks.
Yeah, it wasn't good at all.
And then after the match, we think that there's going to be a confrontation between Sid and Hulk Hogan, and then Sid and Hogan decide instead to be friends and pose for like an awkward amount of time.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's
really weird, and I just love that this was a United States versus Iraq big thing, and the U.S. baby faces had to fucking cheat with powder. What was that, anthrax, to win the match? That's fucking awesome. The best thing to come of this is Sid. The look on Sid's face when he's looking through when he's like poking his head out the curtain when Hulk is trying to call him back to the ring.
Yeah. I like playful Sid is fun.
Yeah, I'm into playful Sid. I'm a Sid guy. I think I like Sid.
Yeah, he's fun. He plays softball.
Yeah, he tries to murder somebody.
Yeah, he's always a babyface. You know,
was it Arn Anderson he tried to murder?
He did try to stab Arn Anderson to death with a pair of scissors. So then we get our last check on then we get our last check on the Mountie, and he's making new friends that wear leather. Not to put too fine a point on it.
Use intentionally effeminate accents, which kind of stinks. Yeah.
And then we go back to the ring, and they're still fucking posing.
Yeah.
Like, then we, of course, get a recap of Macho Man proposing to Elizabeth. He took the ring out a little early for my liking. Like, then pretended like he didn't know what he was going to say to her. Like, well, clearly.
He's got the ring in his hand. Macho loves he's always loved the look back and forth at the crowd. What should I do?
Oh, brother.
And he milked the shit out of it with this thing.
So then we get a musical tribute to Liz and Randy, glossing over the years that Savage was a heel and was not nice to Miss Elizabeth. No time for that. Yeah. Or the time that he fucking yeeted her on Saturday night's main event with Hulk Hogan in the room. Anyway, then Savage comes out and it's his wedding tuxedo, obviously. And it's white and gold, and it's got fringe, and he's got his important occasions cowboy hat on, only for important occasions.
It says it on it.
Yeah. I thought that Heenan was good here. He keeps making little jokes, and Piper and Gorilla are like, not now, Bobby. This is not the time. We put up with your shenanigans during the wrestling show, but now it's important.
Yeah, he said, what did he say? He was like, I can't wait to see the dress. What kind of cheap blue lights special?
And he's like, Piper's like, you better tell him, Gorilla. And he's like, if he doesn't knock it off, I'll smack him myself or whatever. You know? And then Heenan's got the flower girl comes out, and then the ring bearer comes out, and Heenan goes, actually, the ring bearer is a midget, in case you didn't know. And they're like, Bobby,
it's a child.
Yeah. And look at Savage at the gallows, just standing there. And then Liz comes out. Of course, she looks great. She's in a wedding dress. There's a big pomp and circumstance, no pun intended, for this thing. This is an occasion so sacred that the Macho Man takes his sunglasses off. It's a big deal. You got the Macho Man.
Eventually, he takes his sunglasses because he has them on during the whole like, dude, would you take this woman to having to hold all that shit? And then he takes them off and does the looking back and forth to the crowd thing. Yep. Oh, should I say yes, brother? And he's like, oh yeah.
And then it's a hot mic, just so we know.
Yeah.
You got it up in the house a little too much, getting some feedback.
Mm-hmm. So, there is some feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. Macho Man is like, he's got to take his hat off. But he hands it to the best man, who's not his brother. I think he couldn't have Lanny be the best man because Lanny's only been portrayed as a heel. and not his brother on WWF TV, so I don't know who this dude was.
Yeah, when they first showed from like a far away shot, it looked like young JR.
Yeah, that's,
and I was like, was Jim Ross in it? But when they like got a little closer, it clearly wasn't him. So I don't know who the fuck that was.
but he has to hand off his matrimonial cowboy hat so that he can kiss Liz at the end.
I thought at one point the officiant or officiator or whatever, official, he said, "We gather here today in the bowels of matrimony." I don't know what he said. It sounded like he said the bowels of matrimony, which is hilarious. I hope
could it have been the vows of matrimony?
It could have been, but that still doesn't make that much sense. So I don't know.
Well, they're already married, so it's a fucking sham.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
It was like your wedding. I should have said that.
Yeah. It's all for show. Well, because in every wrestling wedding, it's like, if anyone objects, and then all, the heels music fucking hits, and he comes out, hey, I object, So, but this one goes off without a hitch, and then the show ended, and I was like, no, there's like an angle at the reception, and so I had to go on the VHS. They have the Coliseum video exclusive. Luckily, I was able to go to YouTube, find it, send it to Andrew. I wonder if my two thoughts on this are maybe when Liz and Randy got married initially, they couldn't have a big ceremony because this was before Randy really hit it big in WWF. So this was like, hey, for the character and all this, let's do a big wedding thing. That'll be cool. The fans will be into it. And then, but we're going to let you do a wedding on our pay-per-view, but at the reception, you got to let us shoot a fucking angle. Like,
we got to make some money off of this shit.
Yeah, we're not getting out of here without an angle.
It is odd to me that they initiated, and this makes sense marketing-wise because then they can just show the replay somewhere, but they initiated it outside of the pay-per-view window. So, like, where did this originally air? Were they like maybe on Raw? Was Raw around? Raw wasn't around.
No, this was Prime. It would have been Primetime Wrestling, or they would have showed it on Superstars, which was the syndicated show.
Okay, so yeah, that's because it's just I guess you just show it on the next time you're on national TV.
Or it was the VHS exclusive.
See, the VHS exclusive is an interesting thing for me though, because like, how quick does this VHS come out?
Yeah, it's the turnaround's a couple months at least, so they must have showed it on like the syndicated show, I'm sure. So we go to YouTube for the reception. Looks like a pretty classy shindig. They got a big band. They got a flautist up in here. Mean Gene looks like he's about 6 or 7 drinks in. He's loose. He's having a good time.
Yeah. A wrestling party don't stop.
They do the line of congratulations, like Liz and Randy are standing in the line, and Heenan comes through just looking bummed, and Savage and him have like a funny little moment, which was pretty good.
Yeah, Heenan was just kept going, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
They do the first dance, and then they cut the cake, and you're not putting cake in the Macho Man's face. Not on this, the day of his wedding tuxedo.
Yeah. The day of my wedding tuxedo.
He's got to get this thing dry cleaned. And then they do the bouquet toss, and I just thought, man, imagine all the sad-ass bouquet tosses before Beyonce changed the game. Like, it's hack now, but the first time single ladies hit, and you got to bring them to the dance floor. I've been at some weddings. Luckily, I'll never have to do this shit again. But hopefully I never have to do this shit again. Whenever it's like, all right, all the single dudes come out, and it's like me and one other dude, and the two of us have got to like pretend that we care about catching this garter. I'm like, why don't we call this off? Like, there's nobody here. I don't want to catch this thing that's been on your leg all day, all gross.
I caught the garter one time.
You're like, you're my friend's wife. Why do I want this intimate piece of clothing that you've been wearing?
I caught it and then immediately put it right in my mouth.
That's the move, really.
I was like 13. I made a really good catch because she flicked it like shit, so I had to run. It was a running catch, like forward. It was a good catch though.
Yeah,
I kept it for a while.
That's the defender's skills. Smelled it.
All my instincts turned on. Yeah, every once in a while I'd pull it out. Yeah. Give it a little sniff.
I could watch the Macho Man open gifts conservatively for 10 hours. He's stoked about every single gift he gets.
He couldn't get the blender out of the box.
Yeah, he's
like, oh, somebody got me a blender. Who got me that? And then he just can't get
like,
it out of the box.
Oh, it's a blender. Oh, yeah. And then he's like, candlesticks, brother.
Yeah.
And Liz is like, hey, calm down. We don't have to, open all the shit like this. And then they open a gift, and wouldn't you know it, Andrew? It's a goddamn cobra snake in the box.
Oh, man.
And Undertaker shows up, fucking wipes out Savage, young Undertaker, spry Undertaker.
Well, and so what was it? The voiceover thing that's it said. Hold on, let me look it up.
Treachery.
The night became somewhat marred, and it's like somewhat marred, just a little bit, because fucking a snake pops out.
Yeah.
The Undertaker comes and just smacks the groom in the head with the urn. The wife is threatened with a poisonous snake, and
by Jake Roberts, really threatened. He's really enjoying
He's
the
really spinning that thing up, and he slaps the snake at one point.
Yeah.
And
well, he wants the hood out, is I think the thing. He's like, fuck yeah, dude, get the hood.
Where the hood, where the hood, where the hood at? And
it's the inspiration for that song. That's
Jake
DMX
starts to back up and just kicks a table over, a whole table of shit. Like
and
somewhat marred.
In a good looking sweater. Jake still dressed for the formal event.
He does look good. Yeah, that is funny. He's still dressed formally.
Yeah, they did mention on commentary in one of the matches, like, the rumor is Undertaker and Jake the Snake might be lurking around. Keep your fucking eyes peeled then, dude. The Undertaker only looks like the Undertaker. Like,
they wasted all their security getting fucking the Mountie to the clink.
There's not a second dude that looks like the Undertaker who's gonna be around, oh shit, is that the Undertaker? Oh no, that's Ricky Steamboat.
Oh, that's the Undertaker. I thought that was an Undertaker.
Yeah, I was looking for an Undertaker. You were talking about the Undertaker. And now Sid Justice in his formal t-shirt brandishes a chair and chases off the heels. And the evening is only somewhat marred. I'd like to imagine that, like, the DJ put on You Make My Dreams Come True by Hall & Oates or something. Like, let's get this party started again. Yeah.
Sid's red shirt's pretty dope.
Yeah, he looks jacked in every shirt he's wearing.
Of course. Yeah. You can't hide that.
So that's the end of the show. A couple of things. So this whole thing with Savage and Jake the Snake happens because the Ultimate Warrior is immediately fired after this show is over. He gets backstage and Vince fires the shit out of him. Because for years in Vince's story, or telling of it, the Ultimate Warrior tried to, quote unquote, hold Vince up for money, for like $1 million. It was like, I'm not doing the match if I don't get my money. And Hogan and Sargent Slaughter, this is Hogan's retelling, offer to break the Warrior's leg for not wanting to do business. It was like, you fuck up the match made in hell, we'll beat your ass. And then it comes out years later that Ultimate Warrior was owed back monies from WrestleMania 7, and had written a letter to Vince formally asking to receive his pay that he hadn't been paid in months, and to be bumped up to the level of pay that Hulk Hogan was making, because he was a star that he considered to be on the level of Hulk Hogan, or they were going to have to terminate their agreement with each other, which is a lot different than it seeming like he showed up to the building that night and was like, hey, give me $1 million or I'm not doing the match.
Yeah.
Those are not the same. So, but in Vince's retelling of it for many years, that's what it seemed like. And they did the same thing to Jeff Jarrett, where they made it sound like Jeff Jarrett tried to hold the company up on his last night in, whenever he was really just asking for his residuals for merch that he was already owed, and wanted to get paid that money before he left to go to arch rival WCW.
Okay,
so,
I gotta admit, I'm on Jeff Jarrett's side.
Okay.
On the Jeff Jarrett one. I'm on Vince's side on the Warrior one.
But that has more to do with your distaste of or like of the human being involved.
That is true.
Yeah. So Vince said he placated the Warrior by, like, he either wrote him a check or he told him that he would pay him or whatever. And he's like, I just needed to get the match in the ring. And he's like, but the whole time I couldn't wait till he came backstage and fire his ass. And so he immediately fires Ultimate Warrior. This fucks up the Ultimate Warrior Jake the Snake feud that was supposed to be percolating at the time. Did you watch the other video that I sent you?
I did. How stupid is the Ultimate Warrior?
So Ultimate Warrior's been in a feud with the Undertaker, and the Undertaker is a dark force, a supernatural paranormal force. So Ultimate Warrior turns to Jake the Snake, second creepiest dude in the WWE at the time. A babyface, but a creepy babyface. And he's like, I need you to show me the ways of darkness. And Roberts is like, oh, I'm not about that anymore. You don't want any of this shit, Dewey, etc. And then
I said I'd never do that shit a long time ago.
Yeah, and so Jake's like, all right. So then there's a bunch
like
of
actual Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake Plissken.
Jake the Snake Plissken. Yeah. No, I can't do it. You know? Please don't send me back there. So Jake and the Ultimate Warrior, there's a bunch of vignettes where it's like he buries the Undertaker or he buries the Ultimate Warrior alive in a graveyard, and he's like, then it's like sort of sinister, but the whole time he's like trying to teach him vaguely like Karate Kid ass kind of lessons where he's like, no, you gotta, you know, take yourself farther, blah 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 blah. So the last test, it's Ultimate Warrior and Jake, and and Jake's like, all right, the ultimate test behind this door, you know, just go in there, peep that, check it out. And Ultimate Warrior's like, okay.
Well, no, hold on. He says, you go in there, there's a little casket in there. Well, no, he doesn't say little casket. You go in there, there's a casket. Inside that casket, Lucifer himself.
Yeah. So, fuck yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah, dude. Weenie.
So, Ultimate Warrior's like, yeah, that makes sense. I trust you, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
He goes in the room, turns on the lights. Snakes! Hella snakes! Plastic snakes, rubber snakes, real snakes, just all kinds of snakes.
Real snakes eating snakes.
Yeah.
The warrior just straight up kicks a snake at one point across the room.
Yeah, because it's like Indiana Jones. In the middle of this room is a little box. And it's like, what do you think's in there, dude? In the snake room. In
the snake room, set up and driven you to by Jake the Snake Roberts. What do you think's in the snake-sized casket in the middle of the room, huh?
Yeah. So he's like, all right, well, let me check this out.
Yeah.
Kicks the snake out of the way. He opens the box, and it's a goddamn cobra snake.
It's a cobra, man.
And the
fucking cobra, dude, like Bam Margera.
That cobra? The cobra instantly turns to rubber when it sees the Ultimate Warrior, but it still somehow manages to bite him right in the face. And the warrior falls against the door. The door falls over. It is revealed. We get actually Ultimate Warrior blurry vision. I don't know how they did this with the camera, but we get to see through the warrior's eyes.
Well, they could have, because when I went and got an eye test, the doctor made it blurry by rubbing it with a Kleenex, and then asked me how it looked, and I'm like, well, it's fucking blurry because you rubbed it with a Kleenex. You never listened to me.
Why would the camera be blurry?
So
that guy didn't get bit by a snake.
Just. Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. I know everybody in the room got blurry eyed because the camera's on fucking the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, it's blurry ambiance, bro.
Yeah, it's like, no, should I put a fade effect on this? I bet he's feeling pretty dizzy because like suddenly we're looking through the eyes of the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah,
right, and he falls down. And it's a POV shot, so it's from the warrior's perspective. So I don't know. Again, he's got camera eyes.
Yeah.
And he's looking up, and Jake's like, man, didn't they ever tell you? I don't fucking trust a snake, dog. I'm a snake.
What are you thinking? I'm a snake.
Yeah. I'm a fucking snake, dude. And then the Undertaker comes in, and they presumably kill the Ultimate Warrior because there's no one there to stop him. So why wouldn't they? And then the Ultimate Warrior's back on TV the next week or whatever. So it's supposed to lead to Jake the Snake versus Ultimate Warrior.
I bet Vince was pissed that they aired that before he fired him. Because had they fired him, they could have then aired that, and that's how they get Ultimate Warrior off TV. He fucking died.
Yeah. So they have to pivot to this Jake Roberts versus Savage thing, which is honestly better, much better in every single way. Because then we get whenever Jake fucking attacks Macho Man and bites him with the Cobra Snake.
We get the story he told us.
Yeah, like that's so much better. And Macho Man being retired at this time so he lost Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7. So he's supposed to be retired. But Jake the Snake's starting shit with his lady. So he's like, I don't know if I can come back. And they're like, well, you lost the match. So, we got to uphold the law. What are we going to... They went to the big boss man. He's the highest court in the land in WWE. And he's like, well, I have to uphold the decision.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Then, Jake's talking shit to him. And then Macho tries to attack him. Because Macho's a bit of a hothead. And then Jake attacks him with the snake. And then they're like, okay, well, we can't have that. That's too far. So now you're reinstated so we could solve it like men. You could whoop Jake the Snake's ass if you want. They actually flip the main event of Survivor Series. They fucking bait and switch everybody that paid for Survivor Series. It's supposed to be Jake, the Natural Disasters, and IRS versus Macho, the Legion of Doom, and Big Boss Man in a 4-on-4 in the Survivor Series.
Macho got such a better team.
Well, we opened the pay-per-view and they're like, due to the attack of Jake the Snake on Macho Man, neither Jake the Snake nor the Macho Man are going to be in this pay-per-view. They do a 3-on-3 main event with the Legion of Doom and Boss Man versus the Natural Disasters and IRS. Yeah. But that pay-per-view was sold on the back of Hulk Hogan versus Undertaker for the WWF title.
That's sick.
Yeah, Undertaker wins.
That wasn't the main event?
No, middle of the show. Hogan's got to get out of there.
Hogan wants to leave. Yeah.
So
got to get to Japan so we can wrestle twice in the same day.
Yeah. Hogan loses because Ric Flair interferes. Undertaker wins the belt, but all of that is actually a bait and switch because they wanted to test out if people would buy a pay-per-view on a Tuesday. So they do Survivor Series. They don't give you the Jake Macho match, and they announce this a pay-per-view called This Tuesday in Texas, which has Hulk Hogan versus Undertaker rematch for the belt, and Jake the Snake versus Macho Man 1-on-1. Because shit. Vince is the ultimate hustler. So
how did it sell?
I think it did okay. It didn't do great because like one of the other matches is like Bret Hart versus Skinner for the IC belt.
Like Principal Seymour Skinner?
Yeah, well, there's a Gatorman named Skinner who was a wrestler.
Oh Jesus, I don't know shit about Skinner.
He's from the Everglades, dude. So, there is the that is the SummerSlam stuff. After this is the last time that Sargent Slaughter appears as Iraqi sympathizer Sargent Slaughter. They start airing vignettes where Sargent Slaughter is repentant of his ways. It's like, I want my country back, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, you sided with a maniac, like a genocidal maniac.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, fucking Saddam Hussein's super cool. And we're way into it. Yeah. And the Iraq War, the last date of operation that I could find on Wikipedia was February of 1991. So it went from August of 90, February of 91. The Sargent Slaughter won the WWF title in January. And then they did WrestleMania, where he's the Iraqi sympathizer main event. Then they kept it going to SummerSlam. So we're like, 7 months out from the end of the Iraq War.
He's
And
still, he's like those Japanese guys in the trenches that didn't know the war had ended and they just lived in the trenches for years.
Yeah, and it's like I know for years, like in the 80s, they had all the Russian heels, and they had like Nazi sympathizer dudes. But I think the difference is that was all like regional wrestling. It wasn't nationally televised, and it was like those guys all got heat, but it wasn't an active. I think maybe the difference was it wasn't an active thing that was happening, and it's like people weren't dying in the moment. Also, like while you were going on TV and being like using Saddam Hussein for heat, you know.
Yeah,
and I think that turned a lot of people off.
And I think when it's more when it's more localized, the rage doesn't spread as quickly.
Yeah.
And get fueled as quickly, so you can get away with stuff in smaller groups way more. That's why, like, it's part of the reason why you can say something horrible in a comedy club, and as long as you're not getting filmed, that you won't say on a special or some shit, you know?
Right. So yeah, it stank. I remember reading that it turned a lot of people off to wrestling at the time because
it's a bad
they were
angle.
like, yeah, and it's just like, did the guy use nerve gas to kill a bunch of people?
Yeah.
And not that being a Nazi sympathizer as a fake wrestling character is any better, but like it wasn't happening then. It wasn't a thing on the news every night, and then I gotta watch my wrestling show where Sargent Slaughter's like, yeah, no, Iraq, great, things are going great.
Plus, and I know this is like, this shouldn't matter as much, it just sucked. It just wasn't good. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like well done. The two other guys just aren't like really don't add anything to it. The Iron Sheik stinks on ice.
Yeah. Well, and I think Foreign Menace at that point was like people were over it. Like,
yeah.
the Russian thing had like played out, and it was like, okay, what's the new thing that you could really do? So, I was gonna do the pop culture game, but then I realized that for the Bret Hart deep dive, we've already done this week.
Oh yeah.
I was like getting the screenshots and stuff, and I was like, I think we fucking talked about all this stuff. So I had a couple of different things. I pulled the ages of many of the wrestlers that appeared on this show. Andrew, do you want to guess how old the Nasty Boys are at SummerSlam 91? They're the same age.
Fuck, I could be way off. Like 31.
Each one of them, 27.
Okay. All right.
What about the Bushwhackers?
Oh fuck. Who knows?
They live outside of time,
I doubt
dude.
they even know. 45.
Okay. You split the difference. Luke was 44, Butch 46.
I think that's as good as you're gonna get, because I
That's
wasn't
pretty
gonna
good.
give two of them because I can't tell them apart. So
Yeah. How old is our hero? He saved us from the Iraqi menace. Hulk Hogan, 1991.
38.
Right on the button.
Look at
Fucking
me,
nailed
bro.
it. How old is Bret the Hitman Hart?
30.
34.
Fuck.
Yeah.
He was already 34 in 91, bro.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. Because I was thinking maybe he's like mid pushing late 30s in like 97, you know?
Yeah. Nope.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's the Big Boss Man and Earthquake are the same age on this show.
27.
The big,
27.
28.
Fuck.
Nice.
I knew it was younger. If had I not known that it was younger, I would have guessed like 34 for both of them.
Sure.
But I knew I've in looking at all this shit, I know that John Tenta is always way younger than he looks.
Right. The Legion of Doom.
Ooh.
How old are the Legion of Doom?
Are they different ages?
Yeah.
I'm only going to give one age. How far apart are they? Are they pretty far apart or are they close in age?
It's reasonable.
Okay.
They would have been in high school at the same time.
Who's the older one?
It's, look, I know. I'm asking you.
Fuck. I almost feel like Hawk is the younger one just because of his behavior.
Yeah.
And like just because it just seems like he's the younger one. But I feel like Animal might look younger, maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Hawk is younger.
Okay.
And Animal is 33.
Okay. Wrong.
Both wrong?
Wrong.
So Animal's the younger one.
Animal is 30 the evening of this
shit.
pay-per-view.
Okay.
Hawk, his senior, 34.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got the roundabout age, but man, Hawk is 4 years older. Okay. I went on behavior instead of fucking aesthetics, I guess.
The oldest competitor on this pay-per-view is your enemy, the Iron Sheik. How old is Iron Sheik?
In 91?
In 1991. Night of this show.
51.
You oversell the Iron Sheik. He is a spry 49 years old. Night of this show.
Okay. And I'm not doing math. Like I do like brief. Like okay, he's 70 something now. That was 30 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that would have been wrong math, but
wrong. Finally,
20 years ago.
He would leave regardless of his age. He would leave us too soon. How old is Andre?
30 years ago. I'm stupid. Fuck. I don't know how old he was when he died. Can we go how old he might as well have been? Was it 79, so 80? Fuck, I have no idea how old he was when he died. So maybe like 46.
He was 46 when he died.
Oh,
45.
Fuck, so like 45 here. Okay.
Yeah, and it's looking rough. So, interesting.
I'm proud of him for lasting that long.
Yeah.
He lived longer than fucking John Tenta.
Made it.
Which is wild.
So the other thing I wanted to do, we went to the baseball peninsula at the beginning of the show.
We did.
In lieu of pop culture, going to ask you some 1991 baseball questions.
Okay. Just letting you know, if you end the podcast now, you're a nerd. If you would have stayed for the pop culture, but you're leaving for the baseball, you're a nerd.
Do you know who won the World Series?
Yeah, the Blue Jays.
No.
Oh, the Blue Jays. Well, fuck. They won. Okay. Who did they? The Blue Jays lost the World Series that year. Then
they lost the ALCS.
Shit.
To the eventual winners of the World Series.
All fucked up. Then I don't know.
Small market team.
Yeah, I'm thinking either Mariners or Twins. Who won? Who was it?
Twins.
Yeah, I think that was okay.
Twins beat the Braves in a series where each team won their home games. So.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
And the Twins beat the Blue Jays, who would go on to win the next two World Series. Bumming me out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any guess as to who the MVP of 1991 was?
Fuck.
I know the AL guy. It's very famous. The NL guy, I have no idea who he is.
This is gonna be a complete guess. AL. Shit. Don Mattingly.
No, it is. He plays for the Orioles.
The Cal Ripken Jr.
Cal Ripken Jr.
Oh shit. Okay.
I didn't even know he won an MVP. So, and I was trying to figure out. Okay, internet. I was trying to figure out what game of his consecutive game streak he was on the night of SummerSlam. There's not an internet tracking for that. I am amazed that the internet does not have that answer.
What if there was a baseball game that night?
If they do, I
100% it's out there. 100%.
No. Like, because he played 3,000 something games consecutively.
Yeah.
There's not a thing that's like, here's game one of that, here's game two.
Yeah.
So
I know of somebody who could find that, but who cares?
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out. The NL most valuable player was Terry Pendleton.
I've heard of him, but I'm not that familiar either.
Cy Young winner that year. A couple of famous guys. Tom Glavine for the Braves. Okay. Roger Clemens for Boston.
Okay.
Rookie of the year, Jeff Bagwell from Houston, who I always loved because his stance was so tiny and cool to me. He had that really compact swing.
No, Bagwell is almost the opposite. He was completely wide.
Biggio was the little guy.
Yeah. Bagwell was completely wide, sat like he was sitting in a stool, right?
Yeah. And then guy with for many years the funnest name in baseball, won the AL Rookie of the Year, Chuck Knobloch.
Chuck Knobloch forgot how to throw the ball to first base at one point in his career. Yeah. One of my favorite names ever in baseball, Glenn Allen Hill.
I like that. Baseball Hall of Fame, another fun name. Gaylord Perry made it in.
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
And
pitcher.
Converted Jew Rod Carew was
not just because it rhymes.
No. And Hall of Famer Rod Carew, he converted.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I just looked up the AL MVP voting. Don Mattingly was not in the top 21. At least, so he got no MVP votes. His MVP year was 1985. I was gonna say Kirby Puckett, that was my other one, but he was number 7, so I wouldn't have been close on that.
Right. I'm not gonna ask you who you thought hit the most home runs. What do you think the most home runs hit in 1991 was? There's 2 guys who tied in the AL, and then a guy in the NL who hit less.
Shit, I don't even know. Maybe 40, 42 home runs.
You're close. 44 home runs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Were hit by both Jose Canseco
and Martin McGuire in the A's.
No, Cecil Fielder.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then Howard Johnson, when he wasn't managing hotels, hit 38 home runs for the New York Mets in the NL. So,
I don't even know that name, Howard Johnson.
What is Jose Canseco's the name of the guy? It was the name they used in Liar Liar, right? I'm Jose Canseco.
There's I'll be Nomo, you be Jose Canseco.
Yeah. And they mentioned wrestling in Liar Liar, which I always liked as a kid. He wants to take his son to watch wrestling, and the mom's like, "No, not wrestling." And he's like, "But the boy must learn about violence."
I haven't
Ultimate
seen that
Warrior
movie in a long time.
in the cage. So anyway, this is also Terminator 2. Hot Shots is the number 1 movie this week. I could talk about Terminator 2 forever, but I thought we would not go back through that. So we went a different way. Last one. Shaboy. Well, I don't know he's your boy. It's my friend. Ricky Henderson stole 58 bases for the Oakland A's.
Oh, yeah. Ricky's one of the greatest ever. By the way, Terry Pendleton did win the MVP that year. Completely robbed Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds, I'm looking at the stats right now, should have fucking easily won the MVP that year.
Maybe because the Pirates stank?
It could have been, but it's because back in the day, it was just about batting average. It's like, if you had the best batting average, you were the best player because nobody fucking understood how stats work at that time.
Get on base. How many teams in Major League Baseball, 1991?
Shit. I should know this. I'm probably not going to know this, though. Because expansion happened. This was 29.
Close, 26.
Oh, okay. I guessed.
I guess 13 each league, right?
Oh yeah, it would be an even number, but yeah, I that's the thing. Like, there's so much to remember in baseball that I don't know. I'm not the biggest stats guru in the world. I know the ins and outs of the game a little bit more, but
Oh yeah, and I wasn't expecting like it's the wrestling thing is way easier because it's like one guy versus one guy or a team, two guys versus two guys, and you remember the lineage or whatever. But like
yeah.
to keep track of all the stats and shit, like you'd have to really be a dude that was doing that, you know.
I can't believe how robbed fucking Barry Bonds got. And like Pendleton, yeah, that's hilarious how robbed Barry Bonds got. So Barry, I think, won 6 MVPs, so he got robbed of his 7th MVP.
At the minimum, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, he won 7 MVPs, so he got robbed of his 8th MVP. God
well,
damn.
Who was the dude? There were two things that were happening the year of the strike, right? Well, wasn't Tony Gwynn almost batting 400 when they decided to strike? And he was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then somebody had I think Griffey had hit a bunch of home runs.
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Either like him or Frank Thomas, and it was like they were like flirting with the record. And then they just did the strike, and it was like, well, that's it for that.
Oh fuck! Barry Bonds actually got sneaky robbed. In what year was it? In 2000 of his 9th MVP. If you're keeping score at home, by his teammate Jeff Kent.
Oh, well, yeah, because Kent batted behind him, right? So Kent got all the
the
juice.
Kent hit 334, 424 on base percentage, but Barry Bonds' on base percentage was 440. His OPS was higher. His WAR was higher. Kent had more RBIs, but he probably was knocking Barry in quite often. Barry hit 16 more home runs. Yeah, I feel like, and Barry's WAR was higher. I feel like Barry should have won that, but.
For the uninitiated, WAR is win over replacement or win against replacement.
Wins above replacement.
Or yeah, so like if they had put some other dude in instead of Barry Bonds, what would the win have been?
Yeah, so Barry Bonds was worth one half of a win more than Jeff Kent was in that season, which isn't much, but like it was a sneaky rob, that one. It wasn't as egregious as the fucking Terry Pendleton one, but I think Barry Bonds should have 9 MVPs, which is insane.
Well, you might need to scour the thing because he could have been robbed other times.
I'm looking. There's only 2 times he placed second. So I assume if he didn't place second, he probably didn't get robbed.
So, anyway,
yeah.
Back from the Baseball Peninsula, we have the MMA corner, Baseball Peninsula, Frogtown. We're expanding the geography.
Ice Cube Central.
Yeah, of the Ice Cube Station.
Yeah.
Which takes us to Snoopville, as it were.
I have an idea for what we should do next. Did you have an idea?
No, go ahead.
I think we should. There's Vice is doing Tales from the Territories.
Yes.
They put one out on Memphis. I think we should do that one. Are you down?
Okay. Watch that episode.
Yeah, because a lot of people are talking about that right now. Might pump up the numbers a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, and then so that'll be it. Oh, I also came up with an idea for the 100th episode that I'm not going to tell you about.
Oh hell yeah! I'm excited about that.
But we are making it to 100 in the moon in this decade. Do the other thing.
And the other thing, not because it is easy, but because it is hard.
The other thing is making 100 Snark Marks episodes.
Yeah.
Going to the moon in this decade.
And we're not doing it because it's hard. We're doing it because it's easy.
Yeah, we're doing it because it's like I get to chat with my buddy for a couple hours about wrestling. What could be better than that? So anyway, thank you to everybody who listens. Andrew dropped the stuff at the beginning. Obviously, if you're wanting to find us on the internet, we're out there. We're on those websites. And we'll be back next week. Because kayfabe may be dead, but we're alive watching the Tales from the Territories Memphis episode. So, bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.